What's up, YouTube? We're chilling like rockstar villains. And we got a couple of videos to respond to. We're chilling out on the live stream. That's most definitely what's up. What is up, punk rock? So, Cool Taste made a video about me. This ought to be rich. People are saying he's talking a bunch of shit. I don't know. You know, I want to watch it and see what he has to say. Thank you for joining in. I'm also doing other things on this long-ass stream. So, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate yous. So, let's grab ourselves a nice cold beer and watch ourselves a video or two. Yeah. People are sending me this video like, what the shit, dude? This is some weirdness, but let's see what we got.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your Cool Taste. We're gonna do a brand new video. Oh my god. So I was watching Cover's live stream from earlier. Oh, it's tonight. But from yesterday. His gender relations rant. Yeah, I just gotta say one thing. Stop with that, Cobra. Like, I got a few things to touch on. First off, at the beginning when you said drinking a nice cold past Blue Ribbon, not a sponsor. Josh, if you just stop trying to make people love you and impress them, get them to...
Bro, you have to legally say that because sometimes companies can get pissed at you. If you go to review someone's product and they don't like your review, you know what I'm saying? They can sue you or get you in trouble. I'm talking, of course, about Copenhagen versus Outlaw. Look it up. outlawdick.com. I say not a sponsor because a lot of people may ask, you know, and trust and believe if it was sponsored content, you would know. Are they paying you to do the video? If the answer is no, this is just your free-based opinion. Really, it's not a sponsorship, it's a review. If the company is paying you money to review their product, then you are sponsored. However, and even with my affiliate link, I'm not sponsored with them either. You know, I promote them on my channel because Tactical Soap kicks ass. But what's with this stop trying to make everyone like you crap? Hold up. What's up, YouTube? Chilling out. So I gave this video a like to show some support for Cool Taste and also to make this video easier to find. Some people are texting me saying he's talking shit. I don't know if he's talking shit really, because me and Cool Taste are friends, but I think he's just stating his opinion.
That's Blue Ribbon, not a sponsor. Josh, if you just stop trying to make people love you and...
I'm not making people do anything, Cool Taste. I cannot control what other people do. Honestly.
Impress them, get them to like you. Just be yourself.
Listen, Cool Taste, if I was afraid to be myself, would I still be dressing goth, playing guitar? Do you know how much harassment I get for dressing goth? Being a heterosexual white male who wears eyeliner and black nail polish. I've gotten so much hate for it. But this is who I feel comfortable as, this sexy goth bad boy stud that I am. I'm not trying to make anyone do anything, man. So the video started off like this, and I got a little chuckle out of it, and I'm like, oh, this is funny. You know, if I was afraid to be myself, would I be dressing goth? The answer is no. man, you know, I'm not here to throw jabs or insults or anything. I'm just doing a friendly video response.
Maybe you could go from affiliate to a sponsored affiliate. Like, you didn't hear me say that in my Taco Time review. I didn't say not a sponsor. I said shout out to Taco Time for sponsoring this video.
You gotta be careful with that, bro. If Taco Time did not sponsor your video, did they pay you money to do a commercial for them on your YouTube channel? No, they did not. If they did not, then technically they're not sponsored. What I would say is thank you for providing from such and such place, not a sponsor. You know, and that's more likely to get a more honest reaction from people, because usually when the content is sponsored, people's reactions to it are, you know. But
man, I'm not an affiliate, I'm a sponsorship. And I'm almost to 1,000. But yeah, you're over here making videos about gender relations and gender equality. Let me tell you, I don't care about that crap, alright? I'm just going with the flow, and what happens, happens.
hey man, that's cool. You don't care about that crap until you experience sexism on the reverse end and nobody does anything about it, because that's just how life works. And if you don't like my gender relations videos, then don't watch. A lot of people get sick and tired of me ranting and raving about that crap. Well, you know what? I'm sick and tired of seeing women and men get treated like shit on the dating scene. Yep. In fact, there were a lot of people who thought about quite honestly tuning out because I talk about it so much. Big whoop. You know? We could talk about other things too, you know? Ooh, who am I to want to improve gender relations? And hey man, I'm just going with the flow too, you know? But what's wrong with wanting to improve gender relations? You know? Oh, I know what people are going to say. Cobra, nobody asked you to do it. Yeah, so? Didn't have to be asked. And that's cool, man. You know, if you don't like my gender relations crap, then don't watch. You know, and obviously I'm not afraid to be my weird, quirky, autistic goth self. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a little bit over 18,000 subscribers.
Like, October 14th, I'm going to be leaving the state of Wyoming and going to Idaho.
Fuck yeah, dude. Safe journey.
For a vacation, I'll be in Idaho and occasionally Washington between the 14th and the 21st. All expense paid vacation at that.
That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick, bro. I meant to say sick, but I actually said stick. That's pretty sick, bro. Hell yeah. We could all use a vacation every once in a while. I get that. But again, this is not an attack video. This is just a friendly response. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, and when I'm struggling with my own issues and seeing that other people are having the same issues, all of a sudden I see the bigger issue. And the bigger issue ends up looking for a solution. Because as people, we are solution thinkers. There's a problem, we fix it. You know, it's just how humans are. We fix shit. We figure out ways to make it work. Yeah.
So, if you're in the Idaho area, it's in the SP one, the SP town, like 30 minutes away from Washington. Yeah. In Cobra, you have more videos than I do, but they seem to love me more than you. I saw you. Your subreddit was read to me.
Okay, Cool Taste. You don't know the scoop of things. That subreddit was created by a bunch of my haters, dude. Okay? People who are literally so bored with their life, they're going to create an entire subreddit dedicated to ripping on me as hard as they can, every day, non-stop. Okay, that takes dedication, man. I feel sorry for my trolls, to be quite honest. And yeah, my subreddit's full of trolls, but it's also got a couple of solid fans in there who care about me, so it ends up being mixed in with what you would call fans, trolls, and then just overall, you know. So not everything on that subreddit is complete shit, honestly, but my honest opinion, the King Cobra JFS subreddit is exactly what's wrong with our society, reflected on one page. Thank you for subscribing, appreciate it, and or donating. As far as being well liked, no offense, Cool Taste, but where would you be if I hadn't given you a recommendation from my YouTube channel and said, hey, check out this guy's videos, you know? And the reason why I have more videos is because I put my time into it, and that ends up paying off. People are like, this guy is dedicated to his YouTube, his content's somewhat original. I mean, he'll give zany references to other YouTubers, you know. There's some people stick around for the fun, some people go, oh, who the hell is King Cobra, you know what I'm saying? Excuse me. You win some, you lose some. However, what else were you going to say on this video? I didn't get a chance to fully watch it, but I'm watching it right now, so, yeah.
They love me over there. Speaking of which, go check out my subreddit, Reddit.
Don't let them fool you, man. They're just trying to befriend you because they know you're friends with me. And they're trying to get you to fuck with me and shit. I know how these trolls work. And, yeah, you know, Cool Taste, you want to have a subreddit, have fun with that, brah. Sincerely.
There's not much going on over there.
Not much going on over there, eh? Well, if you're more well-liked than I am, then how come my haters are so dedicated to hating on me? Because the way I see it, your haters are your biggest supporters, am I right? But I've been bullied in school and dealt with an unfair, broken system my entire life, to some extent. I've seen it unfold with other people's shit. And it gives me this perspective on the world, and I'm like, if I bitch about it, cool. You know, I'm bitching about it for the right reasons, obviously. But this video, though, I got a little chuckle out of it.
I got 94 members.
4 members. Yeah, buddy. Like, if you want to check out Cool Taste subreddit, go right ahead. Did you put it in the description box? Nope, he did not. Love to plug his subreddit, but I don't have the link for it, so what do you do? Now, obviously people like me, otherwise they wouldn't buy my Teespring merch or use my affiliate link and the coupon code King Cobra to get the soap. Which, yeah, coupon code King Cobra will get you 15% off your next order of tactical soap when you use it directly on the website. And have you smelling like a gentleman for the ladies. Yeah. Tactical soap kicks ass burgers. I never get tired of the reaction I get when I walk into the bar, or a bar, and I walk by some chicks at the bar, and they're just like, oh my god, that dude smells good. What's up? And people recognize me too. They're like, it's the legendary King Cobra JFS. But, yeah.
The link is www.reddit.com/r/cool taste.
Oh, there you go. He plugged it in the video. Sweet. If you want to check it out, check it out.
Go over there and check it out. But, I mean, I'm not forcing it. I'm just going with the flow, and look what's happening to me. A lot of stuff is happening to me. And I love every part of it, my understanding.
I get that. Shit happens to everyone, man. Life's a journey. Or to quote that one really famous song from the movie Cars. Life is a highway, I wanna ride it all night long. Life is a highway, I wanna ride it all night long. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm to get tired, so I'm gonna hold it up with my left. But, Cobra.
Didn't quite catch what it said, but thank you for your donation.
Just go with the flow.
Just go with the flow, right. That's what they want you to think, man. Just go with the flow, man. Yeah, but what happens when it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse, and all you say is go with the flow, and to the point where you're just at the brink of the shittiest life, and you spent your whole life just going with the flow, man. No offense, Cool Taste, but I don't think you get why I do the relationship videos. And that's cool, you know. I pretty much explained it. Like, I get tired of seeing not just myself, but other fellow adults struggle with it, so I share my perspective on it. Maybe my 2 cents can be taken as advice, you know. And, you know, if people dig what I have to say, cool. If not, you know, this is me going with the flow right now. And man, shit, you made a video, I'm responding to it. There you go.
Like, and another part is when you're getting the steps about in a relationship, like how women just want to marry guys and divorce them and take them for all their stuff.
That's not what I said, dude. You're reading between the context. I said that divorces happen more with women these days, but women are put underneath all this pressure to get married in the first place, just like guys are put underneath all this pressure to get laid. You're reading between the context, bro. Stop. And to be fair, you want to talk about unfair. Women do get away with that crap in the divorce courts. They take you for everything you got. They can, at least. Doesn't mean it always happens, no. But they can. You know, that doesn't excuse men or their shitty behavior either. I think a lot of people just read between the lines when I say shit, and then they just, like, come up with their own weird conclusion, and all of a sudden it's either I like Cobra, he tells it like it is, or Cobra's an asshole. One of the two, right? Yeah. It's ridiculous, YouTube. It is bloody well ridiculous. And honestly, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, people are gonna form their opinions about me whether you like it or not. So honestly, Cool Taste, thank you for making this video and talking about me, bro. I appreciate it. Also, I think you misread what I was saying. You know, there have certainly been some cases where men have won divorce battles and taking everything the woman's got. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem with double standards and sexism and all that, is it affects both genders. And when you talk about gender equality on your YouTube, you have to acknowledge the cold hard truth on both sides, and it's not fun. It's not fun. But it makes a difference, because then people start going, hey, you know what, that's cool, like Cobra's doing his thing, and you know, because I've heard complaints on both sides. Holy shit. Between Terrence Pop bitching about women and then Tommy Lorraine's video bitching about men, I'm just like, yay, gender relations. And to be fair, people bitch about these things because, and this is a pattern I've noticed with women and men who bitch about the opposite sex, it's because they've had shitty dating partners. That's a common trend that I've seen, to be quite honest. Anyways, Cool Taste, you were saying...
That's not true. Wait, that's not all true.
It's not true, eh? Alright, so let's go to Google. No, it's not true that the stereotypes for divorce are bullshit, of course, but if I go to Google right now and say which person or which gender initiates more divorces around the world in general, what have you, you know, it's gonna say what it's gonna say. You ask Google a question, Google has an answer. Who initiates more divorces, men or women?
According to MSN.com, according to 2015 research from the American Sociological Association, women initiate almost 70% of divorces.
That part's true. That doesn't mean that men don't get divorces, but yeah. And when his car, half of his clothes, his record collection, and half of his money are on the table, there are some men who would take that deal too, to be honest, because there are assholes on both sides. Can we just acknowledge that, people? You want to talk about gender equality? Assholes exist in all genders. But,
Why are you comparing the two?
really, I'm not comparing the two so much as I am looking for similarities amongst the two. You know, we focus on the similarities and what unites women and men as human beings, as a species. All of a sudden, you know, talking to your other half or talking to the opposite sex becomes incredibly easy. And really, truthfully told, you cannot compare women to men. They are different genders, but they are also similar in a lot of ways. It's complex how it works out, but, you know.
You're not a woman. You don't know why females want to marry guys. And
No, you're right, I'm not. But here's the thing, if it's slick, you don't know me either. You know, and I never claimed to. You know, but from what I've seen, from what other people go through, that's how I gain my perspective. Like I said, you go to a busy bar, excuse me, you go to a busy bar on a Friday night, and you see a bunch of single girls sitting at a table slamming shots, bitching about men. The drunker they get, the louder they get, just like any man would, depending on the person, and, you know. Because men get loud when they drink, too. And you sit there and you hear them bitch about men, and it's just like, yikes. And then, across the bar, there's a dude talking on the cell phone about his messy divorce, and you're just like, You know, I may not have experienced any of these things, but when you hear it or observe it, or people observe, if you will, or examine society's social patterns, and you see how this shit plays out, you're just like, man, we're better than this. So if you ask me, I'm more focused on helping improve gender relations than I am on getting laid. Honestly, that's pretty goddamn noble. You know, but I don't go around showboating out. You know what I'm saying? I'm a humble person. And I don't know where this video's even coming from, Cool Taste. You know what I'm saying? If the fans, quote unquote, are getting sick and tired of gender relations, well, the videos and the rants, well, you know, I'm sick and tired of the way shite plays out. So what the, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real.
Divorce them? There's a lot of shit that comes into play.
You're right, there is a lot of shit that comes into play when it comes to divorce.
I'm not even gonna get onto that rant.
Like I said, I think when people read between the lines of what I say, they take what I say, they either think, yeah, you know what, Cobra's a really sweet guy, he tells it like it is. Or, Cobra's the biggest asshole I've ever met, oh my god.
But the steps in a relationship, you really had to mention sex? Dude, I'm bound to dry spell as long as you.
No one cares, dude. You and me are both going through a dry spell. It happens. Shit. No one gives a fuck. Okay? Cool Taste, bro. Nobody gives a fuck that you and me are going through a dry spell. Okay? And as it sits right now, I've gotten recognized by some really attractive of-age ladies around town just because they're like, that's the legendary King Cobra JFS. Women find me attractive because I'm not afraid to be myself and I have attractive qualities. Okay? And you know what? Honestly, Cool Taste, you'll find the right one. And so will I. You know, it's just a matter of time, bro. Like you said, going with the flow.
Alright.
And you want to bitch about that, dude. I know people who have had longer dry spells. Now, could you imagine being married and not being able to, you know... That would suck. So you find other ways of being intimate. You know, this is where gender relations really takes a test. When you get to that age where you're so old, but you're still married to the person, you're too old to have, you know, relations. You find other ways of being intimate, just spending time with each other, watching sunsets and holding hands, cherishing every moment, you know? And that's the goddamn truth.
3 years. But you know what? I don't care about it. And you know what else?
You know, honestly, I've learned to not care about my dry spell either, you know, to be fair. And there's several reasons why I've learned to not care about my dry spell anymore. The biggest reason is it could be worse, dude. You know what I'm saying, Tubes? I got enough hot chicks that acknowledge my existence and that they think I'm cute. So honestly, I'm not in a rush. You know, a lot of chicks in town want to date me because I'm a YouTube celebrity. And I dig it. Here's the thing of it though, Cool Taste. You know, I don't know why you made this video, but life is truly a learning experience. You know, it's trial and error, man. And, yeah. People are sitting there texting me, oh my god, who's Cool Taste? Why is he talking shit? I'm like, he's a homie of mine, chill the fuck out. So I'll watch the video and Yeah.
I'm doing what I have more time to do what I want with my life.
I will drink to that. Making badass wands, dude. Check this out. Check this out, YouTube. You cannot tell me that's not sick. Look at this wand. Look at this wand. Look at it. Exactly, man. You just gotta make time for your shit, dude. You know, I get that. Excuse me.
I want to go on this trip.
Well, hell yeah, dude. I hope you get to go on the trip, and I hope, you know, you're protected on that trip, you know?
Vacation to Idaho.
Hell yeah, man. Have fun in Idaho. We'll see you when you get back. And again, Cool Taste, thank you for helping me with Darth Lenny's egg video, which was freaking hilarious, by the way. Yo. You know what I'm saying? You act like that I can't just go with the flow and chill, man. Whatever, dude. You know, I'm in the same fucking boat you are as far as the dry spell goes, and I don't care either. You know what I'm saying? I get trolls constantly hitting me up on YouTube saying, Cobra needs to get laid, here's $5, LOL, LOL, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, dude, my trolls need to get laid more than I do, that's hilarious. In fact, I laugh at my dry spell. One time when I went to the bar and accidentally spilled beer in my lap, I made a joke about it. I'm like, well, I guess I got my dick wet at... And then I named the bar and chuckled at it. And people around me who watch my videos and know what's up were just chuckling like, you know what, Cobra's got the right attitude about his dry spell. He laughs at it. You know, I do. I'm a good looking dude. I got some muscles, you know what I'm saying? I got attractive qualities. So at this point, I'm laughing at it. As I become more famous on YouTube, you know, it's only a matter of time, dude. Just like planning for that vacation of yours, right?
Washington, I'm gonna record while I'm down there.
Fuck yeah, dude, record that shit.
Like, in the stream, I heard you say that someone's not. I heard somebody say that they're not proud of your channel. I made a video about you yesterday in that crazy cookie pizza review, alright? I made you yesterday. And Clinton Saunders said, I see my son takes inspiration in me. I inspire you, but you...
That was a troll, dude. That wasn't my real dad. I don't get inspiration from you. Get off your high horse, Cool Taste. And don't let... You know what? Sincerely, bro. No offense, dude. But I get those same fucking assholes pretending to be my dad in the chat. And they'll donate $5 and say a bunch of stupid fucked up shit. Just to get a reaction because they think it's funny. Like, I'm going to talk shit on Josh but give him $5. Or, you know, it's like, who's trolling who, really, you know? Shit. And here's the thing of it, Cool Taste. Honestly, I will say this. It is admirable that you still get around with your eyesight. It is pretty impressive, bro. And honestly, I wish I could fix your eyesight. But that's another thing, too, is like you start realizing that people out there have it way worse. And you want to bitch because you're going through a dry spell. Boo-hoo! I had a speech teacher at elementary school that did that. If you got a question wrong, You got a boo-hoo. And you draw like a little sad face. That's funny. But back to the video here.
You have more subscribers than me. Okay, and the money that your fans donate to you, what I do, my fans donated to me, I would use that money and put it towards YouTube. Not.
Yeah, I do put, to be fair, I do put this money towards YouTube. You know, if I order something, I review it on YouTube. You know, if I go to the liquor store and I get a beer, I review it on YouTube. If I'm cooking something, I'll cook it. So yes, I do put the money that's donated towards me, towards not only YouTube, but also my wand business. And believe it or not, it's taken me several years to get to this point, Cool Taste. And that's the thing that people don't realize, is the success I have on YouTube right now is nothing compared to people who are 8,000 times more famous than me. But, you know, it's the stepping stone like this that's going to take me to the top. You know, people hear my singing voice and then they hear the guitar playing, they're like, damn! When he actually knows the song and he can match the artist, that's cool. Okay? I literally had trolls who impersonate my dad all the time, and it's horse shit. YouTube. It's horse shit. People love to harass me because I'm autistic, and they think it's funny, but, you know, really the joke's on them.
Not towards a beer and not towards a ridiculous pizza.
Okay, Cool Taste, bro. Let me tell you something. I don't tell you how to spend your YouTube money, so please don't tell me how to spend mine. That's why people like watching, because I do ridiculous shit like that. Cobra goes extreme with his orders sometimes, you know? That's why they like watching me. Like, what kind of insane shit is this asshole doing now? He put what on what? You know? Remember when I did that cooking video where I put the crickets on a bacon cheeseburger? That shit was insane, dude. You had these crickets that you could snack on like a snack, like sunflower seeds, right? I had a fan send me some crickets in the mail that you could eat like a snack. I've heard of candies like that, and just to be gross and weird, I put it on a bacon cheeseburger and ate it on camera.
See, the pizza that I did yesterday, it was only $10.
You know what? Like I said, Cool Taste, you do what you're doing, I'll do what I'm doing. You all talk about going with the flow. Here you are telling me how to live my life. Like, why don't you go with the flow and just do your thing and I'll do my thing? Shit.
Like, seriously? Just go with the flow.
Oh my god, that's funny. This coming from the guy who's telling someone else how to live their life. You know, and not trying to be a dick, but it kind of sounds like Cool Taste is jealous that I have more fans on my YouTube channel, but I'm not going to say that. Oh wait, I did. Oh, Cobra, be nice. That's as far as I'm going to go with it, honestly. Cool Taste, bro, I thought we were friends, but like, what the shit is this, dude? Just go with the flow, he says. Oh my god, dude.
But I'm done. If you enjoy, like, comment, subscribe. Oh, and one more thing, Cobra. What I noticed is my like to dislike ratio is I have more likes than dislikes.
That's because trolls bought my videos with dislikes, bro. You don't know what I go through. You have no idea, and I have no idea what you go through, you know? So I'm not going to sit here and judge you, but the thing of it is, you want to say that, but guess what? If I just uploaded a video and it has 0 views and already has 26 dislikes, I've seen that shit happen. And I just ignore it, because honestly, I don't care about like to dislike. I don't care about subscribes, you know? I appreciate my subscribers, but it's not about that, bro. After you just got done giving him shit about being jealous. The way I see it, YouTube's a platform when we can all share it peacefully. There's no need to, you know what I'm saying?
You have more dislikes than likes.
Again, because I get botted, and I guarantee you, if you had the kind of trolls I had, you'd be experiencing the same shit, bro.
My channel's popping over here.
Right. Your channel's popping. Even though it's not about subscribers, I would like to point out, I'm kind of curious to see how many subs I do have. I'm not trying to piss anyone off, but you made the video saying this crap, so I responded. Oh wait, 18,488 subscribers. God damn, dude. You want to talk about popping? And you know, it feels good to get your first 1,000 subscribers, dude. I get that. I've been there, done that, burnt the t-shirt. But when you get a YouTube plaque saying congratulations on reaching, wait, hold on, you've only got 1,000 some odd subscribers, which some of those you wouldn't have if I hadn't given you a shout out on YouTube. So you really want to, you know, be like that.
What?
So there's that video, YouTube. Honestly, cool taste. I hope you enjoy your vacation in Idaho. And now we come to the second half of our juicy little rant. The presidential debate. Uh-oh, Cobra's getting political with it.
The calculus for who we consider the winner.
During the debate, you can go to NBCnews.com. So let's get...
So, who wants to see King Cobra JFS watch the presidential debate while drinking beer? Any takers? Any? Alright, let's do this. Now, I'm not telling you who to vote for, you know, but,
Get started. We'll go first to Chief White House correspondent Hallie Jackson, who is inside the debate hall. Hallie, what are you hearing from both camps?
A couple of things, Ivana. You have two very different candidates and two very different kinds of debate prep that has been happening. Sources close to
you know, the best part about political debates is it's all about interrupting each other. People are so quick to be like, oh my God, Trump interrupted Joe Biden. Joe Biden interrupted Trump just as much and then told Trump, just shut up, man. I'm like, what? My head cannot even begin to wrap itself around the immaturity of it. It's just mind-boggling that we have two grown-ass men who are older than me acting like children on stage. I'm like, dude. I hate politics. To a degree, I do despise politics, but I keep informed because it's good to be informed, YouTube. To have your own solid conclusion. Instead of just going with the flow, what's wrong with having your own opinion? You know, that's where the system likes to challenge people. But we got a couple beers in the fridge, and yeah, no disrespect to any of the candidates. This is just, you know, friendly video.
President Trump, for example, saying he's really been doing more informal Q&As with his top advisors. On the Biden side, people familiar with his planning say the focus this week has gotten more intense as he has done issue by issue practice sessions, essentially. When you talk about topics, watch for President Trump to try to turn this race into less of a referendum.
Okay, so I kind of feel like I said, Trump is just one of those candidates people love to hate. You want to blame Trump for the racism in our country when our country has always had a history of it. So one man is literally responsible for 200 plus years of racism in our country. Okay, yeah. Here's your sign. You know, and it just turns into one of those things where it's just like one thing after another, dude. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for donating and or subscribing. I appreciate it. I can't see the... Hold on. God damn it. That's alright. That's alright. So we're going to watch this debate live on YouTube and Streamlabs. And feel free to follow along if you like. What do we got? What do we got? We're not doing vocal covers in this stream, but thank you for subscribing. I do appreciate it. Boy, chat is blowing up right now. Sweet. Thank you for subscribing. I do appreciate that. Fuck yeah. Alright. Don't let the system force you to think a certain way. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of conformity just is enough, you know. People will judge me because my black jeans have holes in the kneecap and I'm wearing this Aussie shirt, you know, looking at me like, who's this, you know, punk? You know, who's this punk? You know what I'm saying? But thank you for subscribing. I do appreciate that. Keep an eye on that while we're watching the debate. There we go.
Good evening from the Health Education Campus of Case Western Reserve University.
Yeah, this would be the time to grab some alcohol. And every time they interrupt each other, take a shot. You'll be plenty hammered by the end of it. Oh, that's great. That's the damn truth, actually. Oh, wee. But I do appreciate you all tuning in to watch this live stream. Cool Taste made a video about me. Just got done responding to that. Now I want to watch the debate live on YouTube. It's already been watched around the world several times, so, you know. But, yeah, that's quite alright. We're just here, you know. Things don't appear to be working right now. That's alright. Let's get back.
University and the Cleveland Clinic. I'm Chris Wallace of Fox News, and I welcome you to the first of the 2020 presidential debates between President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. This debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. The commission has designed the format, 6 roughly 15-minute segments with 2-minute answers from each candidate to the...
By now, if you've watched presidential debates, you know exactly how this shit goes. People just argue over each other. Ooh-wee. Yikes, YouTube.
The first question, then open discussion for the rest of each segment. Both campaigns have agreed to these rules.
So maybe like grab a snack, grab a beer, whatever. Now, obviously, I don't spend all day on YouTube. If I can help it, I do take a break and do other things, but excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and grab ourselves a snack and watch this debate.
For the record, I decided the topics and the questions in each topic. I can assure you, none of the questions has been shared with the commission or the two candidates. This debate is being conducted under health and safety protocols designed by the Cleveland Clinic, which is serving as the health security advisor to the commission for all 4 debates. As a precaution, both campaigns have agreed the candidates will not shake hands at the beginning of tonight's debate. The audience here in the hall has promised to remain silent. No cheers, no boos or other interruptions, so we, and more importantly you, can focus on what the candidates have to say.
They have to say that because people are so opinionated anymore, they just can't help it. It's like an OCD kind of thing. Everyone's got opinions and they all suck. Well, for the most part.
No noise except right now, as we welcome the Republican nominee, President Trump, and the Democratic nominee, Vice President Biden.
And of course, they gotta get their booze out right away. Holy. Alright, so if you're just tuning in to the YouTube channel, eating some extra crispy KFC and watching the presidential debate. I fell asleep watching it earlier, so I think, you know what, I'll just do a video response to it. I'm not here to influence your vote. Honestly, you can vote for whoever you want to vote for, but just get into it. I got some beer in the fridge. We're gonna need it, because holy shit.
Gentlemen, a lot of people have been waiting for this night, so let's get going. Our first subject is the Supreme Court. President Trump, you nominated Amy Coney Barrett over the weekend to succeed the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the court. You say the Constitution is clear about your obligation and the Senate's to consider a nominee to the court. Vice President Biden, you say that this is an effort by the president and Republicans to jam through an appointment and what you call an abuse of power. My first question to both of you tonight: why are you right in the argument you make and your opponent wrong? And where do you think a Justice Barrett would take the court? President Trump, in this first segment, you go first. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chris. I will tell you very simply, we won the election. Elections have consequences. We have the Senate, we have the White House, and we have a phenomenal nominee, respected by all, top academic, good in every way, In fact, some of her biggest endorsers are very liberal people from Notre Dame and other places. So I think she's going to be fantastic. We have plenty of time, even if we did it after the election itself. I have a lot of time after the election, as you know. So I think that she will be outstanding. She's going to be as good as anybody that has served on that court. We really feel that. We have a professor at Notre Dame, highly respected by all, said she's the single greatest student he's ever had. He's been a professor for a long time at a great school. And we won the election, and therefore we have the right to choose her. And very few people knowingly would say otherwise. And by the way, the Democrats, they wouldn't even think about not doing it. If they had, the only difference is they're trying to do it faster. There's no way they would give it up. They had Merrick Garland, but the problem is they didn't have the election, so they were stopped. And probably that would happen in reverse also. Definitely would happen in reverse. So we won the election, and we have the right to do it, Chris.
President Trump, thank you. Same question to you, Vice President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this, and looking forward to this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Joe.
The American people have a right to have a say in who the Supreme Court nominee is, and that say occurs when they vote for a United States senators and when they vote for the President of the United States. They're not going to get that chance now because we're in the middle of an election already. The election has already started. Tens of thousands of people have already voted. And so the thing that should happen is we should wait. We should wait and see what the outcome of this election is, because that's the only way the American people get to express their view is by who they elect as president and who they elect as vice president. Now, what's at stake here is the president's made it clear he wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. He's been running on that, he ran on that, and he has been governing on that. He's in the Supreme Court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which will strip 20 million people from having insurance, health insurance now, if it goes into court. And the justice, and I have nothing, I'm not opposed to the justice, she seems like a very fine person. But she's written before she went on the bench, which is her right, that she thinks that the Affordable Care Act is not constitutional. The other thing that's on the court, and if it's struck down, what happens? Women's rights are fundamentally changed. Once again, a woman could be held, pay more money because she has a pre-existing condition of pregnancy. They're able to charge a woman more for the same exact procedure a man gets. And that ended when we, in fact, passed the Affordable Care Act. And there's 100 million people who have pre-existing conditions, and they'll be taken away as well. Those pre-existing conditions, the insurance companies are going to love this. And so it's just not appropriate to do this before this election. If he wins the election and the Senate is Democrat or Republican, then he goes forward. If not, we should wait until February. All right.
There aren't 100 million people with pre-existing conditions. As far as the say is concerned, the people already had their say. Okay.
So far, the debate starts off pretty rational. They're giving each other plenty of time to talk. Snacking on some extra crispy KFC while watching the debate. Thanks for tuning in. Again, not telling you who to vote for. That's totally your choice as an American citizen. Yeah, buddy. I'm gonna wash my hands right quick. Alright, so got our snacking out of the way, got ourselves a beer. Hold up. Oh, that's good. That is good. Not a sponsor, of course. This is just a free advertisement. Eating some KFC, drinking a Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Justice Ginsburg said very powerfully, very strongly, at some point, 10 years ago or so, she said a president and the Senate is elected for a period of time, but a president's elected for 4 years. We're not elected for 3 years. I'm not elected for 3 years. So we have the Senate, we have a president.
He's elected to the next
during
election.
that period of time.
Right there! The first one to interrupt was Joe Biden. Look at that. I saw it right there with my own eyes, man. And people are, you know, that's just it. Like, again, I'm not telling you who to vote for, but, you know, it wasn't really an attack necessarily. It was just...
During that period of time, we have an opening. I'm not elected for 3 years. I'm elected for 4 years. And the 100 million people, Joe, the 100 million people is totally wrong. I don't know where you got that number. The bigger problem that you have is that you're going to extinguish 180 million people with their private health care that they're very
That's
happy
simply
with.
not true.
Well, you're certainly going to socialist. You're going to socialist.
We're now into, gentlemen, we're now into open discussion.
Open discussion.
Open discussion. Yes, I agree. Go ahead, Vice President.
Number one, he knows that what I proposed. What I proposed is that we expand Obamacare and we increase it. We do not wipe any. And one of the big debates we had with 23 of my colleagues trying to win the nomination that I won were saying that Biden wanted to allow people to have private insurance still. They can. They do. They will under my proposal.
It's not what you've said,
But
and it's not what your party has said.
That is simply
Your party
a lie.
doesn't say it. Your party wants to go socialist
My
medicine
party is
and
me.
socialist
Right
healthcare.
now, I am
and
the
they're going to
Democratic
dominate
Party.
you, Joe. You know that.
I am the Democratic Party right now. The platform of the
Not according
Democratic
to
Party
Harris.
is what I, in fact, approved of. What I approved of. Now, here's the deal. The deal is that it's going to wipe out pre-existing conditions. And by the way, the 200,000 people that have died on his watch, how many of those have survived? Well, there's 7 million people that contracted COVID. What does it mean for them going forward if you strike down the Affordable Care Act?
Joe, you've had 308,000 military people dying because you couldn't provide them proper health care in the military. So don't tell me
I'm
about
happy
this.
to talk about
And
this.
if you were here, it
Look, here's
wouldn't
the
be
deal.
200, it would be 2 million people because you were very late on the draw. You didn't.
Yeah, you know, Joe Biden, bro, let's have a conversation. You want to talk about the deaths that are on the president's hand? Motherfucker, you supported the Iraq war, so don't give me that crap.
You didn't want me to ban China, which was heavily infected. You didn't want me to ban
All right, gentlemen,
Europe, which was heavily
Mr. President,
infected. You would have been
Mr.
much
President,
later, Joe.
Mr. President,
much later.
Mr.
You're
President,
talking about 2 million people.
You're not
President, as a moderator, we are going to talk about COVID in the next segment, but go ahead.
Let me finish. The point is that the president also is opposed to Roe v. Wade. That's on the ballot as well in the court. And so that's also at stake right now.
This is where a lot of young supporters really dislike Biden because of the way he treats his victory over Bernie Sanders. He's being a sore winner about it, dude. And sore winners are just like sore losers. Nobody likes them. I mean, I dig Joe Biden's taste in shotguns, but that's just...
And so the election is all
You don't know it's on the ballot. Why is it in the ballot?
Because
Why is it
you
on the
said
ballot? It's not on the ballot.
It's on the ballot in the court.
I don't think so.
In the court. Well,
There's nothing happening there.
Donald, would
And
you
you
just
don't
be quiet
know
for a
her
minute?
view on Roe v. Wade. You
I
don't know
don't
her
know.
view.
Well, all right. Let's.
Okay, now it starts to get into the nitty gritty. Now Joe Biden's sitting there saying, Donald, would you please quit interrupting me? Dude, we watched it live on my YouTube channel. You interrupted him first. But really, this is what presidential debates look like. They interrupt each other, they talk over each other, and it's just, you know, like I said, vote for whoever you want to vote for. You know, that's just what I'm saying.
Let's talk. We got a lot to unpack here, gentlemen. We got a lot of time. So, on health care, and then we'll come back to Roe v. Wade.
All right.
Mr. President, the Supreme Court will hear a case a week after the election in which the Trump administration, along with 18 state attorneys general, are seeking to overturn
That's right.
Obamacare, to end Obamacare. You have spent the last...
Because they want to give good health care.
If I may ask my question, sir.
Good health care.
Over the last 4 years, you have promised to repeal and replace Obamacare, but you have never in these 4 years come up with a plan, a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare.
Of course I have.
Well,
I got rid of the individual mandate.
I'm going to give you an opportunity.
I got rid of the individual mandate, which was a big chunk of Obamacare. That is absolutely a big thing. That was the worst part of Obamacare.
Sir,
Chris, that was the worst part of Obamacare.
Okay, let's say hypothetically that Trump wants to get rid of Obamacare because he wants cheaper, more affordable health care. It's basically the same fucking thing. You know, to break it down to you logically, but either way you shape it, both parties want affordable health care, which I agree with. Affordable health care. You know, if we had Canada's health care, dude, come on. Canada's got legal weed and cheap ass health care. The fuck? A man could dream, could he not? And the government loves money. I'm surprised they haven't legalized pot yet. Considering that Colorado makes $1 billion a year each year, but what do I know?
Ask my question.
Well, I'll ask Joe. The individual mandate was the most unpopular aspect of Obamacare. I got rid of it.
I'd like
and we will protect people.
President, I'm the moderator of this debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question, and then you can answer.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're watching the first presidential debate live on the King Cobra JFS channel. If you dig this kind of content, hit the subscribe button, ding that notification bell, and hit the like. You're getting 2 video responses in one long ass video.
You, in the course of these 4 years, have never come up with a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare, and just this last Thursday, you signed a largely symbolic executive order to protect people with pre-existing conditions 5 days before this debate. So my question, sir, is what is the Trump health care plan?
Right. Well, first of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay. I'm not surprised. Let me just tell you something. That there's nothing...
Well, it's a debate period, you know? I mean, people are asking questions.
Symbolic. I'm cutting drug price.
Look at Joe Biden over there snickering like the goblin that he is. Like,
Says I'm going with favored nations, which no president has the courage to do because you're going against big pharma. Drug prices will be coming down 80 or 90%.
yeah, going against big pharma, oh, they fucking hate that. That's another reason why pot's illegal, is because big pharma would lose a lot of fucking money. And people would actually have cures, actual cure for the ailments that marijuana can cure, versus taking some bullshit prescription, which would allow police officers to focus on more hard drugs like taking down meth addicts, etc., etc.
You could have done it during your 47-year period in government, but you didn't do it. Nope.
Well, I mean,
Nobody's done it. So we're cutting health care.
What about
All of the things that
conditions?
we've done,
He has not cut
insulin. I
healthcare.
give you an example. Insulin. It was destroying families, destroying people because I'm getting it for so cheap. It's like water. You want to know the truth? So cheap. Take a look at all of the drugs what we're doing, prescription drug prices. We're going to allow our governors now to go to other countries to buy drugs because
when in
they
fact-
pay just a tiny
As
fraction.
I say,
of
this
what
is
we do.
open discussion.
No,
Let
but
me
this
ask
is
you about-
big.
you'll
This
be
is
happy,
big stuff.
sir. You'll be happy. I'm about to pick up on one of your points to ask the vice president, which is he points out that you would like to add a public option to Obamacare, and
Yes.
the argument that he makes and other Republicans make is that that is going to end private insurance.
It is
and
not.
well, if I can ask you the question.
Wait, there's two kinds of insurance. There's private insurance and public insurance. Well, what's the difference? They're throwing out all these fucking terms that make you go, I thought insurance and health coverage were just that. This would be an example of society making it more complicating than it needs to be. I kind of feel like this is what most people would do. Be like, grab a beer, grab a snack. It's gonna be fun.
It will
Not what your party says, by the way.
It will end private insurance and create a government takeover of health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid. They can get that free in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone who qualifies for Medicare would, Medicaid would automatically be enrolled in the public option.
So the public option is basically for people who make less than $5,000 a year. People who otherwise couldn't afford health care. I get that. And right now, I'm just keeping an open opinion about both candidates. I'm not really picking sides, and just kind of, watch the debate, see how it goes.
The vast majority of the American people would still not be in that option. Number one.
Joe, you
Number
agreed
two.
with Bernie Sanders,
I-
who's
I-
far left, on the manifesto,
Well,
we
you-
call it.
well,
And that
manifest-
gives you socialized medicine.
Look, hey,
Are
I'm
you
not
saying you
going to
didn't
listen to
agree?
him. The fact of the matter is, I beat Bernie Sanders.
Not by much.
I beat him a whole hell of a lot. I'm
Not
here.
by
I'm here
much.
standing facing you.
Pocahontas.
Now, both candidates are just crapping on Bernie Sanders, and I'm just like... Now you got both candidates just crapping on, thank you for that, I appreciate it. Now you got both candidates just openly crapping on Bernie Sanders, man.
Hunters would have left
Well,
2
I
days
tell
early.
you,
You would have lost every primary.
All he knows how to
on
do is
Super
hurt.
Tuesday. You got
Look,
very lucky.
here's the deal. I got very lucky. I'm going to get very lucky tonight as well. And tonight I'm going to
With
make
what?
sure, because
With what?
here's the deal. Here's the deal. The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you...
Oh yeah, typical Democrat response. Call the Republicans liars, and Republicans do this crap too. Democrats love to fact check Trump. They get off on it, but as soon as you fact check them, they lose their shit. And that's the kind of crap that really pisses people off. That brutal honesty right there that I have, yeah. Nothing you can do about it, though. Nothing you can do about it.
I just
agree.
want to make sure.
You're the
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, not first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that. He has,
You'd be surprised.
you pick
You'd be surprised.
the wrong guy, the wrong night at the wrong time.
Listen, you agreed with
Here's the
Bernie
deal.
Sanders to the
The
manifesto.
whole idea.
Let him.
There is no manifesto. Number
Please
one.
let him speak, Mr.
Number
You
two.
just lost the left.
Number two.
You just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan.
Folks,
Absolutely
folks,
agreed
do you
to.
have any
And under that
idea
plan,
what
you
this
socialized,
clown's
they
doing?
call it
Mr.
Do you have any idea?
socialized medicine.
Mr.
Well, I
President.
tell you what, he is not for any help for people needing health care. Because
Bernie?
because he in fact already has cost 10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two,
yeah.
there are 20 million people getting health care through Obama.
And you know Rosie O'Donnell is just steaming pissed off that Trump is president. You just know she is just, I don't even want to think about it, because you just know she is pissed about this shit. I'm like, you want to talk about Trump's biggest hater? Holy shit. And I'm like, why waste your time with hating on anyone? If you don't like the person, then just ignore them. Really, it makes life so much easier for you and for the people around you, and there's less drama in the world, but hey, what do I know?
Obamacare now that he wants to take it away. He won't ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. Take it away.
No, I want to give
Number
them better
three.
health care.
Right there, Trump just said he wants to give us better health care. Yeah? So it doesn't matter who you vote for, really, at this point. Both candidates want the American people to have better health care.
Much lower price
But,
because
and by the way, he
Obamacare is
doesn't know
no
how.
good.
He doesn't know how
I've
to do
already
that.
fixed it.
He has never
I've
offered
already
a
fixed
plan.
it to an extent.
He has never
Obamacare,
done a
as you
single
might
thing.
know, but probably don't.
Gentlemen, you
is
realize
no
that you're
good,
both
Joe.
speaking at the
It's no
same
good,
time.
and it's too expensive.
Let the president. Go ahead, sir.
Obamacare is no good. We made it better, and I had a choice to make very early on. We took away the individual mandate. We guaranteed pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is, and that destroyed. That they shouldn't even call it Obamacare. Then I had a choice to make. Do I let my people run it really well?
Here's the problem with healthcare. Affordable healthcare sounds great until you get the bill for it. So how do you pay for affordable healthcare? Basically, you have to increase your taxes. Which means that basic goods like cigarettes, bread, beer, groceries, etc. become more expensive subconsciously, so that when they collect a tax from all the stuff being bought in our economy, now you can afford your, but here's the best part of it. If you legalize cannabis, and if Colorado makes $1 billion a year off of it, that means that's $50 billion in this country's back pocket. If you legalize cannabis in this country, you could definitely afford some affordable health care. You got people who are out of jobs, the economy sucks, people have been depressed because they're in quarantine, they've been cooped up in their damn houses. But what do I know?
Or badly. If I run it badly, they'll probably blame him, but they'll blame me. But more importantly, I want to help people, okay?
To be fair, that's just how it is as president, man. No matter what you do, you're going to get blamed for something. You got one side that supports you 100%, you got the other side that just blames you for everything, These fucking idiots who are blaming Trump for the pandemic, it's just, oh my god, is it exhausting. But if you dare say anything logical like, yeah, I don't think he started it, I think you're just being retarded and, being typical politics. You support the other side, you hate him, so, But as soon as you say that, oh golly gee willikers. Did I tell you about the time I met this guy at a bar? He had a ponytail in his hair. Really wanted to impress me, right? And, he starts talking politics with me, and he was, of course, very much liberal, and, he had this condescending know-it-all attitude of, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm trying to have a casual conversation with him. I'm talking to him like I talk to anyone else who's not being a dick to me, you know what I'm saying? But this guy literally said, oh, you've got so much to learn. Just that condescending, you know what I'm saying? Typical, stereotypical liberal attitude, right? And I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. So the dude ends up spilling my drink, not once, but twice. That's how drunk this guy was, right? And I bought myself another one. I'm like, it's no big deal. Shit happens. He spills it the second time. I'm like, and he's like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. I'll buy you another one. Oh. And they're doing last call, so of course they didn't give me another one. I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. Which is why if you spill your booze at home, you have no one to blame but yourself.
I said, you got to run it so well. And I just had a meeting with them. They said the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive. Premiums are too high, and it doesn't work. So we do want to get rid of it. Chris, we want to get rid of it.
I understand it, sir, but I have to give you rough.
And it just gets to a point where all three of them are talking, and it's like nothing's being said. You're just
equal time. Good. Please let the vice president talk.
Good.
He has no plan for health care.
Of course we do.
He sends out wishful thinking. He has executive orders that have no power. He hasn't lowered drug costs for anybody. He's been promising a health care plan since he got elected. He has none, like almost everything else he talks about. He does not have a plan. He doesn't have a plan. And the fact is, this man doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right, I have one final question for you,
sure.
Mr. Vice President. If Senate Republicans, we were talking originally about the Supreme Court here, if Senate Republicans go ahead and confirm Justice Barrett, there has been talk about ending the filibuster or even packing the court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a distraction by the president, but in fact it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues in the Congress. So my question to you is, you have refused in the past to talk about it. Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take in that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now.
You're going to pack the court?
Make sure you, in fact, let people know you're senators. I'm not going to answer the question.
Why would you answer that question?
Because the question is,
radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list?
Oh my God, dude. They're interrupting each other and then getting pissed off when the other one interrupts. The hypocrisy of it is enough to make your head spin. And right there, Joe Biden just says, will you shut up, man? That right there, that liberal democratic attitude. And to be fair, both sides have their extremes, so there's nothing you can do about it except just watch and make your decision. A lot of people are getting super heated about these debates, and I'm just like, dude, it's just a presidential debate. Calm the fuck down. You know, I've seen people get really heated over politics, and it just makes me laugh. Holy shit, when people get this heated over politics, it's just like... Trolls exist in the real world too, eh?
List, Joe.
This
Who's
is
on your
so
list?
Gentlemen, I think
this is so unprecedented.
I'm not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment. Mr. Vice President, if Senate Republicans, we were talking originally about the Supreme Court here, if Senate Republicans go ahead and confirm Justice Barrett, there has been talk about ending the filibuster or even packing the court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a distraction by the president, but in fact it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues in
Well, I'm saying-
the Congress. So my question to you is, you have refused in the past to talk about it. Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take in that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how
you gonna
strongly
pack
you
the
feel.
court?
Vote now.
you gonna pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want
you're
to answer the
senators.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because,
wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the
You wanna
question
put a
is
lot of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is
justice,
the
radical
question-
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is
up,
on,
man?
listen, who is on your list, Joe?
This
So you got Joe Biden. Basically, he's gonna say, "Hey Trump, show us your tax returns," and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna show him." And then Trump says, "Well, hey, why won't you answer the question?" Blah blah blah. This is just how it goes.
Who's
is
on your
so
list?
right.
Gentlemen,
This is-
I think
This
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the
unprecedented.
court.
We have,
I'm not going to give a list.
we have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it? Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe.
Keep yapping, man. That's Joe Biden's response. Keep yapping, man. Why don't you just shut up, man? Keep yapping, man. Oh my god, dude. Oy. Because you know, if they would have elected Bernie Sanders as the Democratic nominee, Bernie would have won. He has a lot of people that like him, and a lot of people that dislike him, and that's just politics in a nutshell, dude. That is just politics in a goddamn nutshell, and it's exhausting. You know, if you can't have an opinion without someone getting offended, and it's just a basic harmless opinion like, oh, you support this candidate, that candidate, without someone just going off the rails on a crazy train and just biting your head off and going, hey, you motherfucker, I can't believe you support that. What the are you fucking retarded? Or, oh, you're such a retarded Republican. Or you're just a libtard. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's exhausting.
Yeah.
They sure
47 years you've done nothing. They understand.
All right. The second subject is COVID-19, which is an awfully serious subject, so let's try to be serious about it. We have had more than 7 million cases of coronavirus in the United States, and more.
Jesus fucking Christ. You know, I watched the new episode of South Park, and even though the episode of South Park, the newest one, it ripped on rioting, police brutality, and the pandemic, it just took it to that South Park edge that it does so well as a show. Some people are going to be offended by it. Some people are going to chuckle at it like, oh, that's so typical South Park. And then some people are just going to be like, oh. But, yeah, the pandemic is a real thing, and we should take it more seriously, but at the same time, panicking won't solve anything. It really won't. Well, it's the goddamn truth, and I've been saying that since the fucking pandemic started. Okay, I've been saying this crap since the pandemic started. Panicking won't solve anything. When there were news stories breaking out of people overbuying toilet paper, riots breaking out over hand sanitizer, and all kinds of other shit, I'm just like,
more than 200,000 people have died. Even
2,000 people. Man, that is really fucking sad, actually. On a real note, some for the homies, right? 2,000 people. 200,000. God damn, dude. You know, and that's the problem with the whole pandemic bullshit, is we're getting a lot of mixed messages. People saying not to panic about it, people saying to freak out about it, you know, different sources telling us all one or more opinions, right? This is where social media plays an advantage, but also a disadvantage. What?
After we produce a vaccine, experts say that it could be months or even years before.
I cast a circle of healing for the pandemic. May there be a cure for it. So mote it be in the witch's circle. Straight up. If I could use my magic to help, I will. You know, if it came to me ending my dry spell or finding a cure for the coronavirus, I would find a cure for the goddamn coronavirus. You know, because like I said, there were worse things going on right now, you know. Plus, it's not like you can't watch a bunch of hot chicks on a chatterbait, wink. Which is sexy because the women control their own cameras and it happens in real time. It's not some scripted bullshit.
Before we come back to anything approaching normal, my question for both of you is...
My question is, what is normal? The definition of normal does not exist because each person's definition of normal is different.
Based on what you have said and done so far, and what you have said you would do starting in 2021, why should the American people trust you more than your opponent to deal with this public health crisis going forward? In this case, the question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Good luck. 200,000 dead. As you said, over 7 million infected in the United States. We, in fact, have 4% of the world's population, 20% of the deaths. 40,000 people a day are contracting COVID. In addition to that, about...
Yeah, and you know, this is the problem with the media. You'll get mixed facts, as I call them. You might have one person going, this is how many people, blah, 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 or this is how you prevent it, blah, 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 you know what I'm saying? And the problem with that is, sometimes you don't know who to believe, dude, you know? You're getting all these mixed messages, people saying, try this and that, no, this and that, blah, 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 you know?
Between 750 and 1,000 people today are dying. When he was presented with that number, he's...
You know, so if between 750 to 1,000 people a day are dying from it, oh, dude, that's really fucking sad to think about, to be quite honest.
He said it is what it is. Well, it is what it is because you are who you are. That's why it is. The president has no plan. He hasn't laid out anything. He knew all the way back in February how serious this crisis was. He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do? He's on tape as acknowledging he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic the American people. You don't panic. He panicked. In addition to that, what did he do? He went in and we were insisting that the Chinese, the people we had on the ground in China should be able to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous this was. He did not even ask Xi to do that. He told...
Wait, what? Okay, so let me get this straight. You wanted to, Mr. Biden, basically what you're saying is you wanted people to purposely infect themselves with the COVID just to see how bad it really was. Well, no shit, Trump's not going to do that because that's kind of stupid. That's how the pandemic spreads, you numbnuts. Holy crap. This beer is already gone. I mean, that's like saying, hey, we're going to smoke cigarettes until we get lung cancer just to see how bad it is. A little bit of bone stuck in my teeth. I'm eating that KFC earlier. Got that bastard out. Fuck yeah.
Told us what a great job she was doing. He said we owe him a debt of gratitude for being so transparent with us. And what did he do then? He then did nothing. He waited and waited and waited. He still doesn't have a plan.
Well,
I laid out back in March.
Well, sometimes you gotta keep your plans as president a secret because you don't want the enemy to know what you're up to. It's called strategizing. Yeah. This could go either way, YouTube. Let's say, hypothetically, Trump's not bullshitting. He actually has a plan. You know, you got a lot of people who support him, a lot of people who hate him. And it's pretty much the same on the other side, you know. You see a lot of people who really like Joe Biden, and you see a lot of people who just strongly dislike him. Excuse me.
Exactly what we should be doing. And I laid out again in July what we should be doing. We should be providing all the protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House has passed in order to be able to go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open. Open schools, it cost a lot of money. You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your...
Okay, in order to open up all this stuff after being closed down for several months, that's going to cost a lot of money, bud. A lot of businesses have been shut down because of this shite. So you're going to need some extra money to do that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need like a shit ton of money to help open up all these new businesses. Wonder how America can get a shit ton of money real quickly within like the next 2 years. Gee, I mean, they tax the crap out of alcohol and tobacco. Cigarettes cause cancer, but, you know, weed cures it.
your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans.
Don't give me that crap about presidents golfing, dude. Every president golfs. Like, the fuck out of here, dude. You take a couple minutes off from the office to de-stress and tee off, as they say. Maybe smoke a fat cigar while you're on the course, because, hey, why not, you know. Get yourself an Arnold Palmer, you're set. You can't tell me this, okay? Because Obama golfed during his presidency. So if you want to give Trump shit about that, I'm like, dude, no. Okay. Some of the shit that they give each other crap for, both sides have done. I've seen it.
And fund what needs to be done now to save lives.
Saying that all Trump is doing is golfing and not really doing anything, like, okay. This is the same crap the Republicans were saying about Obama when he was in office. If that makes you really think. Again, I don't care who you support. That's your fucking choice, dude. But I'm just saying.
So if we would have listened to you...
You have 2 minutes, sir.
If we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000, and one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened.
To be fair, it is a worldwide pandemic, and there's nothing you can do about it, except all the precautions and such. And a lot of people are unprepared for this kind of crap. You know what I'm saying, YouTube? But rioting isn't going to solve anything. You know? Helping each other, being peaceful about it, that might actually work.
Happened. They stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault. And by the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died in China. You don't know how many people died in Russia. You don't know how many people died in India. They don't exactly give you a straight count, just so you understand. But
that is fair, because this pandemic is happening at such a rapid rate. There will be a decline in it. You'll see it. The same magic that I used, the same dark spells that I cast against ISIS will take down this pandemic. We'll find a vaccine for it, and America's going to become super rich, and eventually we'll work towards establishing world peace. Now, wouldn't that be something?
But if you look at what we've done, I closed it, and you said he's xenophobic. He's a racist, and he's xenophobic because you didn't think I should have closed our country. Wait a minute.
It says 2 minutes.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You wouldn't have closed it for another 2 months. By my doing it early, in fact, Dr. Fauci said President Trump saved thousands of lives. Many of your Democrat governors said President Trump did a...
Here's the thing of it. Anytime Trump does something good, the other side refuses to acknowledge it. Anytime he does something bad, they're all over it like, see, look what this bastard did. Then that's politics for you, man. Both sides are like that.
Phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact, people that would not be necessarily on my side said that. President Trump did a phenomenal job. We did. We got the gowns. We got the masks. We made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators. And now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics already. Fewer people are dying when they get sick. Far fewer people are dying. We've done a great job. The only thing I haven't done a good job, and that's because of the fake news. No matter what you say to them, they give you bad press on it.
As far as Trump's concerned, the fake news, the slander, I totally get that, dude. People who hate you will do anything they can to ruin your reputation because they're pieces of shit. But if you're a decent person, then you should have nothing to worry about.
It's just fake news. They give you good press, they give me bad press, because that's the way it is, unfortunately. But let me just tell you something. I don't care. I've gotten used to it. But I'll tell you, Joe, you could never have done the job that we did.
As far as trolling goes, I get that, Mr. President. I've gotten used to it, too, to be honest. You know? And being the president's not an easy job. Let's be real with it, YouTube. Who wants to be the person that half the country hates and the other half supports? That's got to be a really tough job, dude. And I mean, like, people will look for just about anything to pick on Trump. If you want a really shitty but truthful example, President Barack Obama got his daughters a white dog for the family. Everybody went, "Aw, it's so cute. Oh my God, look at the president's new dog." But then as soon as Trump's family got a white dog, everyone screamed how racist it was. And I'm like, it's a dog. Really? I need a beer. You know, and that's just how I see it. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, and people might disagree with me and go, "Oh my God, Cobra is so controversial," but here's the thing of it. Like I said earlier, you know, our country has had a history with racism to begin with, and blaming one man for that history is incredibly stupid. When collectively, it's from a lot of different people, not just one person. You know,
You don't have it in your blood. You could have never done that job.
I know how to do the job. I know how to get the job
Well, you didn't
done.
do very well in swine flu. H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not two.
what? Okay, so now Joe Biden's over here giving Trump shit about all the people that died during the coronavirus on his watch, supposedly, right? And really it's not. Again, you're blaming one person for the actions of others. But during the swine flu, where was Joe Biden? 14,000 people? Dude, come on. That's not as much as the COVID, but dude, really?
200,000. There was
A
no
very-
economic
Sir,
recession.
you made a
There was no
lethal
recession.
disease.
You made a point. Let him answer.
And there was no one. We didn't shut down the economy. This is his economy he shut down. The reason.
Oh, no, Joe Biden, no, it's not President Trump's economy, it's our economy. That's where you got it twisted, my dude. And again, I'm not telling you who to vote for. You want to vote for Trump? Vote for Trump. You want to vote for Biden? Vote for Biden. I don't care. It's your vote as an American citizen. You should go out and exercise it. Because there are people out there who sacrifice their lives to fight for that freedom. And can I get America in the chat? Because you know what I'm saying, YouTube?
It's shut down is because, look.
And like, here's the best part of it. If you can't talk politics with someone without completely losing your shit, getting super offended and aggressive with your words, then maybe you shouldn't talk politics with that person. I don't know. It's just, I don't know, common sense.
Look, you folks at home, how many of you got up this morning and had an empty chair at the kitchen table because someone died of COVID? How many of you were in a situation where you lost your mom or dad and you couldn't even speak to them? You had a nurse holding a phone up so you could, in fact, say goodbye.
You would have lost far
How
more
many
people.
people?
Far more people.
And
You would have been.
And by the way,
months late.
your own,
Months behind me,
his
Joe.
own CDC director says we could lose as many as another 200,000 people between now and the end of the year. And he held up. He said, if we just wear a mask, we can save half those numbers. Just a mask. And by the way.
Again, with the whole masks are supposed to prevent it. I've heard several people say it helps prevent it. I've heard several people say it doesn't prevent it. I've heard people say it helps prevent the spread of it, but it doesn't actually prevent you from catching it. So I don't know, dude. There's a lot of mixed opinions in the media right now.
In terms of the whole notion of a vaccine, we're for a vaccine, but I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't. But we trust as a scientist.
You don't
we
trust-
I mean, again, Joe Biden, you did support the Iraq War back when Obama was president, but what do I know? So you want to talk about all the crap? You want to talk all this crap about all the deaths that supposedly happened on the president's watch? Blah, 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 blah. Dude, come on. I mean, yeah, there is footage of Joe Biden sniffing children's hair, and now he's running for president. And I'm just like,
Johnson, Pfizer.
Okay, by the way, gentlemen, let me move on to questions about the future, because you both have touched on two of the questions I'm going to ask. Focusing on the future first, President Trump, you have repeatedly either contradicted or been at odds with some of your government's own top scientists. The week before last, the head of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Redfield, said it would be summer before the vaccine would become generally available to the public. You said that he was confused and mistaken. Those were your two words.
Yeah.
But Dr. Slaoui, the head of your Operation Warp Speed, has said exactly the same thing. Are they both wrong?
Well, I've spoken to the companies, and we can have it a lot sooner. It's a very political thing, because people like this would rather make it political than save lives.
Woo! YouTube, we're watching the presidential debate. It's been 2 days since it happened. And a lot of people are like, well, let's get your perspective on it. I mean, if Joe Biden truly wants to make it about politics and not about saving lives, that's pretty fucked. But then again, you know, it's just like people on YouTube. You get these people who are like, oh, I'm your biggest fan, you know. And it's just some random number, you don't know the person, you know. So it's like, who do you trust? Who do you believe? You know, that's what a lot of people are feeling right now. With the last two elections, holy shit. There are people out there who are threatening other people if Trump gets reelected, and I'm like, that is so fucking stupid. Why do you have to be like that? What is that gonna solve? Abso-fucking-lutely nothing. And you want to talk about how horrible one side is when you're just as horrible. That's the problem with politics. That being stated, I gotta take a piss. A political piss. Because more than likely this is gonna piss off both Democrats and Republicans. Alrighty, so now we're going to get back to the video.
It is a very political thing. I've spoken to Pfizer. I've spoken to all of the people that you have to speak to. We have great Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and others. They can go faster than that by a lot. Become very political because the left, or I don't know if I call them left, I don't know what I call them.
The head of your Operation Warp Speed, Dr. Slaoui?
I disagree with him. Yeah, no, I disagree with both of them. And he didn't say that. He said it could be there, but it could also be much sooner. I had him in my office 2 days ago.
He talked about the summer, sir, before it's generally available.
Just like he said, they give me bad thus. And what I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact, people that would not be necessarily on my side said that.
protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House has passed in order to be able to go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open schools. It cost a lot of money. You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans and fund what needs to be done now to save lives.
Okay, if you want to bring Democrats and Republicans together, sitting there interrupting each other like a bunch of immature assholes is really the way to do it, let me tell you.
So if we would have listened to you...
You have 2 minutes, sir.
If we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000, and one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened.
I mean, okay, this is where a lot of people get offended. To be fair, what if the pandemic started in the United States? What if? And then they were calling it the America disease, you know? You wouldn't like it. Come on, man. Just because it started in one place is strictly coincidental, you know? I'm sure there are a lot of Americans out there that if this pandemic had started in America, had it, and people were calling it the American disease, and people in Europe were making jokes about it, we would be offended. So you gotta think before you speak sometimes, right?
Stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault. And by the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died in China. You don't know how many people died in Russia. You don't know how many people died in India. They don't exactly give you a straight count, just so you understand.
No,
but if you look at what we've done, I closed it, and you said he's xenophobic. He's a racist, and he's xenophobic because you didn't think I should have closed our country. Wait a minute.
It says 2 minutes.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You wouldn't have closed it for another 2 months. By my doing it early, in fact, Dr. Fauci said, President Trump saved thousands of lives. Many of you Democrat governors said, President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact, people that would not be necessarily on my side said that. President Trump did a phenomenal job. We did. We got the gowns. We got the masks. We made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators. And now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics already. Fewer people are dying when they get sick. Far fewer people are dying. We've done a great job. The only thing I haven't done a good job, and that's because of the fake news. No matter what you say to them, they give you bad press on it. It's just fake news. They give you good press. They give me bad press.
Fake news is legitimately a thing. I mean, if you're a celebrity, you could make a video talking about how you like adorable puppies, and they could take that and twist it as you're a sicko or a weirdo, like, you know what I'm saying? Which, to be fair, kittens and puppies are adorable as shit. I don't care what anyone says. You ever heard a kitten meow? It sounds like a little laser gun, like meow. And then you see a puppy just yawn for the first time. It's adorable as shit. And puppies will go through their teething stage where they gotta chew everything, you know, that's just how it is.
Because that's the way it is, unfortunately. But let me just tell you something. I don't care. I've gotten used to it. But I'll tell you, Joe, you could never have done the job that we did.
I mean, if you're a celebrity and you have to deal with a bunch of haters, you either learn to not let it get to you or just freak out about it all the time. You know? It's either or, I suppose.
You don't have it in your blood. You could have never done that job.
I know how to do the job. I know how to get the job
Well, you
done.
didn't do very well in swine flu. H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was no economic recession.
Sir, you made a
There was no recession.
You made a point, let him answer.
And there was no one, we didn't shut down the economy. This is his economy he's shut down. The reason it's shut down is because, look, you folks at home, how many of you got up this morning and had an empty chair at the kitchen table because someone died of COVID? How many of you were in a situation where you lost your mom or dad and you couldn't even speak to them? You had a nurse holding a phone up so you could, in fact, say goodbye.
You would have lost far
How
more
many
people.
people?
Far more people.
And
you would have been.
And by the way,
months late.
your own, his own CDC director says we could lose as many as another 200,000 people between now and the end of the year. And he held up. He said, if we just wear a mask, we can save half those numbers. Just a mask. And by the way, in terms of the whole notion of a vaccine, we're for a vaccine, but I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't. What we trust is a scientist.
You don't
we
trust
Dr.
Johnson
Fauci.
Johnson, Pfizer?
Okay, by the way,
gentlemen, let me move on to questions about the future, because you both have touched on two of the questions I'm going to ask. Focusing on the future first, President Trump, you have repeatedly either contradicted or been at odds with some of your government's own top scientists. The week before last, the head of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Redfield, said it would be summer before the vaccine would become generally available to the public. You said that he was confused and mistaken. Those were your two words.
Yeah.
But Dr. Slaoui, the head of your Operation Warp Speed, has said exactly the same thing. Are they both wrong?
Well, I've spoken to the companies and we can have it a lot sooner. It's a very political thing because people like this would rather...
Oh, wait. So, yeah, you got Joe Biden over here just grinning ear to ear like, this is funny. And you got Trump over here who says we could have the vaccine sooner, but Joe Biden wants to make it about politics. I mean, you know, I don't know, dude.
To make it political than save lives. It is a very political thing. I've spoken to Pfizer, I've spoken to all of the people that you have to speak to. We have great Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and others. They can go faster than that by a lot. Become very political because the left, or I don't know if I call them left, I don't know what I call them.
The head of your Operation Warp Speed, Dr. Slaoui?
I disagree with him. Yeah, no, I disagree with both of them. And he didn't say that. He said it could be there, but it could also be much sooner. I had him in my office 2 days ago.
He talked about the summer, sir, before it's generally available. Just like
he said it's a possibility that we'll have the answer before November 1st. It could also be after
it's
that.
Generally available.
Well, we're going to deliver it right away. We have the military all set up logistically. They're all set up. We have our military that delivers soldiers, and they can do 200,000 a day. They're going to be
This is the same man
It's
who
all
told
set
you
up.
by Easter this would be gone away. By the warm weather it'd be gone. Miraculous, like a miracle. And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man.
That was said sarcastically,
That was
you know that. That was said sarcastically.
And so here's the deal.
Okay, there's no need for... God damn it, dude. Joe Biden, don't be telling people to inject bleach into their fucking arm. We're living in a society of morons who eat Tide Pods for YouTube views. Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
This man is talking about a vaccine. Every serious company is talking about maybe having a vaccine done by the end of the year, but the distribution of that vaccine will not occur until sometime beginning or the middle of next year to get it out, if we get the vaccine. And pray God we will. Pray God we will.
Mr. Vice President, I want to pick up.
Okay, why are we going to make it about religion? Because there are just two things that you shouldn't mix in a debate. Politics and religion. Because when the two mix together and you get people talking, boy, does that tend to piss people off. Again, if you can't discuss religion or politics with someone else without getting pissed off or heated, then just don't discuss it. Or better yet, just don't bring it up. I mean, you know, the world's a much better place with less trauma. Am I right?
You'll have the vaccine sooner.
I want to pick up on this question, though. You say the public can trust the scientists, but they can't trust President Trump. In fact, you said that again tonight. Your running mate, Senator Harris, goes further, saying that public health experts, quote, will be muzzled, will be suppressed. Given the fact that polls already show that people are concerned about the vaccine and are reluctant to take it, Are you and your running mate, Senator Harris, contributing to that fear?
No more than the question you just asked him. You pointed out. He puts pressure and disagrees with his own scientists.
But you're saying
Everybody
you can't,
knows.
Senator Harris is saying
No.
you can't trust the science.
Sometimes disagreement doesn't hurt. You gotta double check and triple check your research to make sure it's correct. I mean, if you're doing a vaccine for the COVID, you want to make sure that it actually works and it's not some snake oil bullshit.
No. You can trust the scientists. She didn't say that. You can trust.
She said the public health
Did say
experts,
that.
quote, will be muzzled, will be
Yes.
suppressed.
Well, that's what he's going to try to do. But there's millions of scientists. There's thousands of scientists out there, like here at this great hospital, that don't work for him. Their job doesn't depend on him. That's not. They're the people. And by
I
the way,
spoke to the
and
scientists that are in charge.
By the way,
they will have the vaccine very soon.
Let him finish.
Do you believe for a moment what he's telling you in light of all the lies he's told you about the whole issue relating to COVID? He still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it was going to be back in February, and he didn't even tell you. He's on record as saying it. He panicked or he just looked at the stock market. One of the two, because guess what? A lot of people died. And a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So-
Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years you've done nothing.
Let's have this debate.
And if you would have had, let me just tell you something, Joe.
No,
If you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's being built again.
You see,
And it's
We're going to
going
get
up
to the
fast.
economy in the next segment, sir.
Okay.
It's going up fast.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
When it comes to how the virus has been handled so far, the two of you have taken very different approaches, and this is going to affect how the virus is handled going forward by...
Now they're going to talk about the economy and what they would do to quote-unquote fix it. See how that plays out. Again, you can support whomever you want to support, but this is just a friendly little video review.
Whichever of you ends up becoming the next president. I want to quickly go through several of those. Reopenings. Vice President Biden, you have been much more reluctant than President Trump about reopening the economy and schools. Why, sir?
Because he doesn't have a plan. If I were running, I know what the plan is. You've got to provide these businesses the ability to have the money to be able to reopen with the PPE as well as with the sanitation they need. You have to
Tell
provide
that to
them
Nancy
plastic.
Pelosi.
Well, he's just shush for a minute.
Tell it to Nancy Pelosi. And Schumer,
by the
Brian
way,
Chuck.
Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, they have a plan. He won't even meet with them. The Republicans won't meet with the Senate. And he sits in his golf course and literally think about it.
Here's Joe Biden saying that Trump just sits at his golf course. Oh, and the Democrats totally lost their shit when everyone accused Obama of just sitting on a golf course. I'm like, you can see politics the way you want to see it, but that's just the way I see it. And I'm like, dude. Ridiculous. The debate is just about over. It's like, yeah. I said I was gonna watch the first debate live on YouTube. I'll do it. You know, I was watching it earlier and I passed out. But YouTube, man, the state of the world we're in is just crazy, dude. We're better than this. Yeah, sometimes life just kicks you in the balls and you have no control over it. You're just kind of like, well, that sucks. And we'll hold off on the beer for a second, and if it gets to the point where I'm just like, okay, hold up, I need another one, I'll grab another one. Again, I'm not telling you who to vote for, man. You can vote for whomever you want to vote for. It's your right as an American citizen. But the thing you need to realize is that most countries wish they had our freedom. We should be humble about that and grateful. There are some countries that this is the leader you have, you don't like it, too bad. Instead of hating on America because we have that freedom, fight for your freedom, dude. You know what I'm saying? That's how we gained our independence. Yeah, there's so many parallels to what I just said that I was going to leave it at that. I'll be right back.
Probably play more than I do, Joe.
What about this question of reopenings and the fact...
Well, he wants to shut down this country, and I want to keep it open. And we did a great thing by shutting.
Okay, so we got one side saying they want to shut down the country, the other side saying, yeah, they want to keep it open. Well, if the country's shut down, then we're safer from the pandemic, but if the country's open and we take some extra precautions, we're still safe from it, and on top of that, we're making money. Because right now, having our country shut down is what's hurting us economically wise. Why people are saying, oh, this is just like the Great Depression. You hear these people moaning and groaning about how this is just like the Great Depression. Guess what, Slick? First of all, if you can still go into a goddamn store and buy a pack of cigarettes and your money is still valuable, it still can produce currency and create a net worth of buying and selling and etc., then no, it's not just like the goddamn Great Depression. On top of that, alcohol was illegal during the Great Depression, so I'm pretty sure I can still go into a goddamn liquor store and buy alcohol. On top of that, dust storms, my dude. People who lived through the Great Depression also suffered through a massive dust storm where there was a lack of rain for a minimum of 5 years, where people were coughing up dust logs and all kinds of horrible shit. So people are sitting here moaning and groaning because they have to stay inside and wear a mask, and they're sitting there whining because it's just like, shut up, dude. Unfortunately, we have a history of this crap. People going through these pandemics and flus and what have you. It's just... It could be the system testing us to see how strong we really are, or it could be just a random coincidence.
Shut it down. Wait a minute, Joe. Let me shut you down for a second, Joe. Just for 1 second. He wants to shut down the country. We just went through it. We had to because we didn't know anything about the disease. Now we found that elderly people with heart problems and diabetes and different problems are very, very vulnerable. We learned a lot. Young children aren't. Even younger people aren't. We've learned a lot. But he wants to shut it down. More people will be hurt by continuing. If you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states that have been shut down, they have Democrat governors all. One of the reasons they're shut down is because they want to keep it shut down until after the election on November 3rd. Because it's a political.
I've got to respond.
But those states are not doing well that are shut down right now.
Respond to that. President Trump, you have begun to increasingly question the effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer. And in fact, recently you have cited the issue of waiters touching their masks and touching plates. Are you questioning
no, I think
the
masks
efficacy
are okay.
of
You have to
masks?
understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test, and you've had...
The fuck you laughing at, Joe Biden? You're not even wearing a mask during the debate. You know what? Fuck it. I might just do the rest of the stream with this COVID mask on. Just to... Yeah. Fucking smart asses.
social distancing and all of the things that you have to, but I wear masks when needed. When needed, I wear masks.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say this.
Vice President Biden, go ahead, sir.
Look, the way to open businesses is give them the wherewithal to be able to open. We provided money.
But I was asking you, sir, about masks.
Well, masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, everybody wore masks in social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also said the opposite. They've also said
no serious person said the opposite.
No serious.
Dr.
Dr. Fauci said the opposite.
Now it's a diaper
We've got a minute left in this.
Now it's a diaper.
Trying to think the last time a candidate had this large of a lead going into a...
God damn it. I clicked on the fucking button.
Manufacturing went in the hole. Manufacturing won't even meet with him. The Republicans won't meet with the Senate. And he's just...
The soap has done so much for me. Our skin is critical.
Let's skip your ad, because that's
Of course. Literally, think about it.
You probably play more than I do, Joe.
What about this question of reopenings and the fact...
Well, he wants to shut down this country. And I want to keep it open. And we did a great thing by shutting it down. Wait a minute, Joe. Let me shut you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second. He wants to shut down the country. We just went through it. We had to because we didn't know anything about the disease. Now we found that elderly people with heart problems and diabetes and different problems are very, very vulnerable. We learned a lot. Young children aren't. Even younger people aren't. We've learned a lot. But he wants to shut it down. More people will be hurt by continuing. If you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states that have been shut down, they have Democrat governors all. One of the reasons they're shut down is because they want to keep it shut down until after the election on November 3rd. Because it's a political. But those states are not doing well that are shut down right now.
Respond to that. President Trump, you have begun to increasingly question the effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer. And in fact, recently you have cited the issue of waiters touching their masks and touching plates. Are you questioning
the
efficacy of
masks? You have to understand, if you look, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to, but I wear masks when needed. When needed, I wear masks.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say this.
Vice President Biden, go ahead, sir.
Look, the way to open businesses is give them the wherewithal to be able to open. We provided money.
But I was asking you, sir, about masks.
Well, masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, everybody wore masks in social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also said the opposite. They've also said
no serious person said the opposite.
Serious. Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci said the opposite.
He did not say the opposite.
We got a little bit more than a minute left in this
masks
segment.
Are not good. Then he changed his mind. He said masks good. I'm okay with masks.
I want to ask you both about one last subject because your different approaches has even affected the way that you have campaigned.
I mean, at this point, YouTube, you could argue that Joe Biden's just laughing through the whole thing, like you're talking about the pandemic, and Joe Biden's just sitting there snickering through the whole thing. And Trump's being very solemn about the whole thing. But then the other side argues that Trump's interrupting Joe Biden. So, you know, it's politics, man. People are going to look at what each person does and nitpick it with the fine comb, you know.
President Trump, you're holding large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people.
Outside.
Outside, yes, sir. Agreed. Vice President Biden, you are holding much smaller events with
nobody will show up.
People with.
What's true? Nobody shows up to his rallies.
All right. In any case, why you holding the big rallies? Why you not? You go first, sir.
Because people want to hear what I have to say. I mean,
But are you not
I've done a
worried
great
about it
job
spreading
as a
disease?
president, and I'll have 35,000 people show up at airports. We use airports.
Are you not worried about
we
the
have
disease
a lot of
issues,
people.
sir?
Well, so far we have had no problem whatsoever.
That's just how it goes. People either like what you have to say or they don't.
Outside, that's a big difference according to the experts. And we do them outside. We have tremendous crowds, as you see. I mean, and literally on 24 hours notice. And Joe does the circles and has 3 people someplace.
Okay.
By the way, did you see one of the last big rallies he had? And the reporter came up to him to ask him a question. He said, no, stand back. Put on your mask. Put on a mask. Have you been tested? I'm way far away from those other people. That's what he said. I can't. I'm going to be okay. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing in one another.
We've had no negative effect.
No negative effect.
We've had no negative effect. And we've had 40,000 people at these rallies.
Just quickly finish up because I want to move on to our next.
Yes, I would. He's been totally irresponsible the way in which he has handled the social distancing and people wearing masks, basically encouraged them not to.
All right.
Ben, he's a fool on this.
If you could get the crowds, you would have done the same thing. But you can't. Nobody cares.
Gentlemen, can we move on to the
economy?
Gentlemen, can we move on to the economy?
Yes.
The economy is, I think it's fair to say, recovering faster than expected from the shutdown.
Much faster.
In the second quarter, the unemployment rate fell to 8.4% last month. The Federal Reserve says the hit to growth, which is going to be there, is not going to be nearly as big as they had expected. President Trump, you say we are in a V-shaped recovery. Vice President Biden, you say it's more of a K-shape. What difference does that mean to the American people in terms of the economy? President Trump, in this segment, you go first.
So we built the greatest economy in history. We closed it down because of the China plague. When the plague came in, we closed it down, which was very hard psychologically to do. He didn't think we should close it down, and he was wrong. And again, 2 million people would be dead now instead of still 204,000 people is too much. One person is too much. Should have never happened from China. But what happened is we closed it down, and now we're reopening, and we're doing record business. We had 10.4 million people in a 4-month period that we've put back into the workforce. That's a record the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. And he wants to close down he will shut it down again. He will destroy this country. You know, a lot of people, between drugs and alcohol and depression, when you start shutting it down, you take a look at what's happening in some of your Democrat-run states where they have these tough shutdowns. And I'm telling you, it's because they don't want to open it. One of them came out last week, you saw that. Oh, we're going to open up on November 9th. Why November 9th? Because it's after the election. They think they're hurting us by keeping them closed. They're hurting people. People know what to do. They can social distance. They can wash their hands. They can wear masks. They can do whatever they want. But they got to open these states up. When you look at North Carolina, and these governors are under siege, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and a couple of others, you got to open these states up. It's not fair. You're talking about almost it's like being in prison. And you look at what's going on with divorce, look at what's going on with alcoholism and drugs. It's a very, very sad thing. And he'll close down the whole country. This guy will close down the whole country and destroy our country. Our country is coming back incredibly well, setting records as it does it. We don't need somebody to come in and say, let's shut it down.
All right. your 2 minutes, sir. We're now moved to you. As I said, posing the question, the president says it's a V-shaped recovery. You say it's a K-shaped recovery. What's the difference?
The difference is millionaires and billionaires like him in the middle of the COVID crisis have done very well. Another billionaires have.
Okay, so Joe Biden makes this point that says basically billionaires and millionaires like Trump have done so well during the COVID, blah, 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 playing off that particular, But, and again, I don't care who you vote for, but Joe Biden, you're a rich politician, you know what I'm saying? You're not exactly doing too bad in this either. There are some of us out there that are doing a lot worse, to be honest. That's why I'm grateful it's not as bad as it could be.
Made another $300 billion because of his profligate tax proposal, and he only focused on the market. But you folks at home, you folks living in Scranton and Claymont and all the small towns and working class towns in America, how well are you doing? This guy paid a total of $750 in taxes.
Sir, wait, no, sir, it's just yeah, I understand. You've agreed to the 2 minutes, so please let him have it.
Do I get my time back? The fact is that he has, in fact, worked on this in a way that he's going to be the first president of the United States to leave office having fewer jobs in his administration than when he became president. Fewer jobs than when he became president. First one in American history. Secondly, the people who have lost their jobs are those people who have been on the front lines. Those people who have been saving our lives. Those people who have been out there dying. People who've been putting themselves in a way to make sure that we could all try to make it. And the idea that he is insisting that we go forward and open when you have almost half the states in America with a significant increase in COVID deaths and COVID cases in the United States of America. And he wants to open it up more. Why does he want to open it up? Why doesn't he take care of the American? You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. And he has no intention of doing anything about making it better for you all at home in terms of your health and your safety. Schools. Why aren't schools open? Because it costs a lot of money to open them safely. They were going to give, his administration was going to give the teachers and school students masks. And then they decided.
To be fair, YouTube, it also costs a lot of money to shut things down. I mean, people go without jobs, and what are they supposed to do for work, I mean, yes, it does cost a lot of money to open things back up, but it also costs a lot of money to shut things down. Again, you can vote for whoever you want to vote for. This is just my personal opinion.
No, couldn't do that because it's not a national emergency. Not a national emergency. They've done nothing to help small businesses. Nothing. They're closing. 1 in 6 is now gone. He ought to get on the job and take care of the needs of the American people so we can open safely.
All right. Your time is up, sir. Well, you're going to get to
I have to respond to that.
Well, you both had 2 minutes, sir.
Excuse me, he made a statement.
So did you.
People want their schools open. They don't want to be shut down. They don't want their state shut down. They want their restaurants. I look at New York. It's so sad what's happening in New York. It's almost like a ghost town. And I'm not sure it can ever recover what they've done in New York. People want their places open. They want to get back to their lives. They'll be careful, but they want their schools open. I'm the one that brought back football. By the way, I brought back Big Ten football. It was me, and I'm very happy to do it. And
all right,
people in Ohio are very proud of me. And you know how I found out? When
gentlemen, we're going to get to your economic plans going forward in a moment. But first, Mr. President, as you well know, there's a new report that in 2016, the year you were elected president, and 2017, your first year as president, that you paid $750 a year in federal income tax each of those years. I know that you pay a lot of other taxes, but I'm asking you the specific question. Is it true that you paid $750 in federal income taxes each of those 2 years?
I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers.
Show us your tax
I paid $38 million 1 year. I paid $27 million.
Show us your tax returns.
I went, you'll see it.
Oh, yeah. I remember when Hillary Clinton got so much crap for her taxes and for her emails. Now you got Joe Biden telling Trump, show us your tax returns. Sounds awfully familiar, doesn't it?
As soon as it's finished, you'll see it. You know, if you want to do, go to the Board of Elections. There's a 118-page or so report that says everything I have, every bank I have, I'm totally under-leveraged because the assets are extremely good, and we have a very, I built a great company.
I'm asking you a specific question, which is...
Let me tell you.
I understand all of that. I understand all of that. No, Mr. President, I'm asking you a question. Will you tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017?
Millions of dollars.
You paid millions of dollars?
Millions of dollars.
So
yes.
not 750.
Millions of dollars, and you'll get to see it. And you'll get to see it. But let me just tell you, Chris, let me just tell you something, that it was the tax laws. I don't want to pay tax. Before I came here, I was a private developer. I was a private business people. Like every other private person, unless they're stupid, they go through the laws, and that's what it is. He passed a tax bill that gave us all these privileges for depreciation and for tax credits. We build a building and we get tax credits, like the hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue. You get a massive, which, by the way, was given to me by the Obama administration, if you can believe that. Now, the man got fired right after that happened. But
Vice President Biden, you want to respond?
Yeah, I do want to respond. Look, the tax code that made him, that put him in a position that he pays less tax than a school teacher makes, on the money a school teacher makes, is because of him he says he's smart because he can take advantage of the tax code. And he does take advantage of the tax code. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts. And I'm going to eliminate those tax cuts and make sure that we invest in the people who, in fact, need the help. People out there need help.
But why didn't you do it over the last 25 years?
Because you weren't president. Because you weren't president screwing things up.
You were a senator. And
you're the worst president America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
let me just tell you, Joe. I've done more in 47 months. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe. We've done things that you never even thought of doing, including fixing the broken military that you gave me, including taking care of your vets.
Mr. President, we're talking about the economy. I'd like to ask you about your plans going forward, because, Mr. Vice President, your economic plan, if you were to be elected president, focuses a lot on big government, big taxes, big spending. I want to focus first on the taxes. You propose more than $4 trillion over a decade in new taxes on individuals making more than $400,000 a year and on corporations. President Trump says that that kind of an increase in taxes is going to hurt the economy as it's just coming out of a recession.
Well, just take a look at what is the analysis done by Wall Street firms. Points out that my economic plan would create 7 million more jobs than his in 4 years, number one. And number two, it would create an additional $1 trillion in economic growth, because it would be about buying American. That we're going to make this federal government spend $600 billion a year on everything from ships to steel to buildings and the like. And under my proposal, we're going to make sure that every penny of that has to be made by a company.
But respectfully, sir, I'm talking about taxes, not spending.
By the way, I'm going to eliminate a significant number of the tax. I'm going to make the corporate tax 28%. It shouldn't be 21%. You have 91 companies, in the Fortune 500, who don't pay a single penny in tax, making billions of dollars.
Why didn't you do it before when you were vice president with Obama?
Because you, in fact, passed that. That was your tax proposal.
I got it done, and you know what happened?
Yeah, you got it done.
Our economy boomed like it's never boomed.
The economy is
Mr. President, let me pick up on that. You would continue your free market approach, lower taxes, more deregulation, correct?
Not lower taxes for American people.
But in Obama's, you talk about the economy booming, it turns out that in Obama's final 3 years as president, more jobs were created, 1.5 million more jobs than in the first 3 years of your presidency.
They had the slowest recovery since economic recovery since 1929. It was the slowest recovery. Also, they took over something that was down here. All you had to do is turn on the lights and you pick up a lot. But they had the slowest economic recovery since 1929. Let me tell you about the stock market. When the stock market goes up, that means jobs. It also means 401ks. If you got in, if you ever became president with your ideas, you want to terminate my taxes, I'll tell you what, you'll lose half of the companies that have poured in here will leave, and plenty of companies that are already here, they'll leave for other places. They will leave, and you will have a depression, the likes of which you've never seen.
Look, we inherited the worst recession short of a depression in American history. I was asked to bring it back. We were able to have an economic recovery that created the jobs you're talking about. We handed him a booming economy. He blew it.
It wasn't booming.
He blew it.
It wasn't booming. It was the weakest recovery
sir,
since 1929.
Is it fair to say he blew it when, in fact, when there was record low unemployment before COVID?
Yeah, but because what he did, even before COVID, manufacturing went in the hole. Manufacturing went in a hole.
Excuse me, Chris. Wait.
Number two.
Chris.
Number three.
They said it would take. No, you're number two.
No.
Chris. They said it would take a miracle to bring back manufacturing. I brought back 700,000 jobs. They brought back nothing. They gave up on manufacturing.
We
Part
did
of my
not
standard fare.
I'm the guy that brought
totally
back
gave
the
up on manufacturing.
We brought back, I was asked to bring back Chrysler and General Motors. We brought them back right here in the state of Ohio and Michigan. He blew it. They're gone. He blew it. And in fact, they're going.
Ohio had the best year it's ever had last year. Michigan had the best year they've ever had.
That is not
Many
true.
car companies came in from Germany, from Japan, went to Michigan, went to Ohio.
They're not having
and they didn't come in with you.
Mr. Vice President, cut it.
And so you take a look at what he's actually done. He's done very little. His trade deals are the same way. He talks about these great trade deals. You know, he talks about the art of the deal. China's perfected the art of the steal. We have a higher deficit with China now than we did before. We have the highest trade deficit with Mexico.
China ate your lunch, down 18%. China ate your lunch, Joe, and no wonder your son goes in and he takes out billions of dollars. Takes out billions of dollars to manage. He makes millions of dollars. And also, while we're at it, why is it, just out of curiosity, the mayor of Moscow's wife gave your son $3.5 million. What did he do to deserve it? What did he do with Burisma to deserve $183,000?
None of that is true. An answer.
None of that is true.
Oh, really?
Totally, Mr. President,
Mr.
President, please.
Totally discredited. Totally discredited. And by the way,
well, wait, he didn't get $3.5 million, Joe?
Mr. Vice,
he got $3.5 million.
It is not true.
Oh, really?
Mr. President, it's an open discussion, please.
It's a fact.
Well, you have raised an issue. Let the Vice President answer.
Discredited.
Did Burisma pay him $183,000 a month? With no experience in energy?
Mr. President,
my son did nothing wrong at Burisma.
I think he did.
Mr. President, let him answer.
He doesn't want to let me answer because he knows I have the truth. His position has been totally, thoroughly discredited.
By who? The media?
By everybody. Well, by the media, by our allies, by the World Bank, by everyone has discredited. Matter of fact, even the people who testified under oth.
So let me ask you this.
Go ahead, Mr. I'm listening to you.
People under,
he got $3.5 million from Moscow.
He testified under oath in his administration, said, I did my job and I did it very well.
Oh, really?
I did it
I'd like to know who they are.
Well, I'll give you the list of the people who testified.
No, go ahead, sir.
Sure, you've already fired most of them because they did a good job.
Some people don't do a good job. With you,
wait a minute. You get the final word. Mr.
Well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown. Excuse me.
Hey, let me just tell you.
No. Mr. President.
$3.5 million, Joe.
That is simply.
Why did he deserve $3.5 million from Moscow?
Look, here's the deal. We want to talk about families and ethics. I don't want to do that. I mean, his family we could talk about all night. His family's already...
My family lost a fortune by coming down and helping us with government.
And that's such a...
Mr. President,
every single one of them lost.
This is not about my family or his family. It's about your family. The American people. He doesn't... That's not true. It doesn't want to talk about what you need. You, the American people. It's about you. That's what we're talking about.
All right, that's the end of the segment. We're moving on.
He didn't take them.
Well,
Vice President,
Chris,
no.
can I be honest? It's a very important
Try to be
question.
honest.
I
stood up.
The answer to
and
the
he
question is no.
threatened Ukraine.
No, sir.
With $1 billion, if you
That
get rid
is
of
you know what,
absolutely not
stop.
true.
tape doing it.
You're going to
On
have
tape.
True.
Gentlemen.
Is-
I hate to raise my voice,
He's
but
on
it seems
tape.
to me, why shouldn't I be different than the two of you? So here's the
That's a
deal.
good point.
We have 6 segments. We have ended that segment. We're going to go to the next segment. In that segment, you each are going to have 2 uninterrupted moments. In those 2 uninterrupted minutes, Mr. President, you can say anything you want. I'm going to ask a question about race, but if you want to answer about something else, go ahead. But I think that the country would be better served if we allowed both people to speak with fewer interruptions. I'm appealing to you, sir, to do that.
Well, and him too.
Well, frankly, you've been doing more interrupting
Well, that's
than
all
he
right,
has.
but he does plenty.
Well, less than, sir, less
There's
than,
plenty.
no, less than you have. Let's please
Oh,
continue.
that is bullshit, dude. Like, seriously, I'm not telling you who to support, but technically, at the beginning of this crap, Joe Biden interrupted Trump first. They're both doing a fair amount of interrupting, so now it's just, you did this when you did that.
Continue on. The issue of race. Vice President Biden, you say that President Trump's response to the violence in Charlottesville 3 years ago, when he talked about very fine people on both sides, was what directly led you to launch this run for president.
Oh, yeah, sure.
President Trump, you have often said that you believe you have done more for Black Americans than any president, with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln. My question for the two of you is, why should voters trust you rather than your opponent to deal with the race issues facing this country over the next 4 years? Vice President Biden, you go first.
It's about equity and equality. It's about decency. It's about the Constitution.
Okay, so there was that history where Joe Biden, now they're talking about race equality. Ooh, we're getting some hot water today. Didn't Joe Biden stiffly support pot laws in the 90s and early 2000s, which imprisoned a lot of African Americans? And, what do I know?
And we have never walked away from trying to require equity for everyone, equality for the whole of America. But we've never accomplished it. But we've never walked away from it like he has done. It is true. The reason I got in the race is when those people, close your eyes, remember what those people looked like coming out of the fields carrying torches, their veins bulging, just spewing anti-Semitic bile, and accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan. A young woman got killed.
Anti-Semitic vile, my dude, you were sitting there gloating about how you beat Bernie Sanders in the Democratic race, who happens to be Jewish or have Jewish heritage. Not saying anything, but I'm just saying, like, dude, nobody likes a sore winner, and you want to talk about some shit, dude, like...
And they asked the president what he thought. He said there were very fine people on both sides. No president's ever said anything like that.
It is who's
now, second point I'd make to you is that when Floyd was killed, when Mr. Floyd was killed, there was a peaceful protest in front of the White House. What did he do? He came out of his bunker, had the military use tear gas on him so he could walk across to a church and hold up a Bible. And then what happened after that? The bishop of that very church said that it was a disgrace. The general who was with him said all he ever wants to do is divide people, not unite people at all. This is a president who has used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred, racist division. This is a man who, in fact, you talk about helping African Americans. 1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the coronavirus. And if he doesn't do something quickly, by the end of the year, 1 in 500 will have been killed. 1 in 500 African Americans. This man is the savior of African Americans. This man cares at all. This man's done virtually nothing. Look, The fact is that you have to look at what he talks about. You have to look at what he did, and what he did has been disastrous for the African American community.
So,
President Trump, you have 2 minutes. Why should Americans trust you over your opponent to deal with?
Okay, so they stopped interrupting each other. That's the start.
he did a crime bill, 1994, where you call them super predators, African Americans, a super predator.
Oh, the crime bill of 1994. Yeah, well, yeah, there's that. I kind of called that before he started his little spew, but
And they've never forgotten it.
the look in Joe Biden's eyes is like, shit, now I'm really regretting doing that. Fuck.
Never forgotten it, Jefferson.
No, sir, it's his 2 minutes.
So you did that, and they call you a super predator, and I'm letting people out of jail now that you have treated the African American population community, you have treated the black community about as bad as anybody in this country. You did the and that's why, if you look at the polls, I'm doing better than any Republican has done in a long time, because they saw what you did. You call them super predators, and you've called them worse than that. Because you look back at your testimony over the years, you've called them a lot worse than that. As far as the church is concerned, and as far as the generals are concerned, we just got the support of 250 military leaders and generals. Total support. Law enforcement, almost every law enforcement group in the United States. I have Florida, I have Texas, I have Ohio, I have Portland. The sheriff just came out today and he said, I support President Trump. I don't think you have any law enforcement. You can't even say the word law enforcement, because if you say those words, you're going to lose all of your radical left supporters. And why aren't you saying those words, Joe? Why don't you say the words law enforcement? Because you know what? If they called us in Portland, we would put out that fire in a half an hour, but they won't do it because they're run by radical left Democrats. If you look at Chicago, if you look at any place you want to look, Seattle,
Blame the radical left, blame the radical right. Look, the point being, YouTube, is radicalism on both sides is irritating.
They heard we were coming in the following day, and they put up their hands, and we got back Seattle. Minneapolis, we got it back, Joe, because we believe in law and order, but you don't. The top 10 cities...
Yeah. Let's see, sorry, not law and order.
And just about the top 40 cities are run by Democrats and in many cases radical left, and they've got you wrapped around their finger, Joe, to a point where you don't want to say anything about law and order. And I'll tell you what, the people of this country...
This coming from the man who had an impeachment trial but allowed no witnesses to testify against him in his so-called impeachment trial.
Want and demand law and order, and you're afraid to even say it.
All right. I want to return to the question of race. Vice President Biden...
Racism can piss off. Literally. We all pee the same color of pee. It's either green or yellow, depending on how much asparagus you have. So asparagus for details. YouTube, I am beyond disgusted at this crap. Both sides are sitting there playing this card of you did this, well you did that. And you can't help but examine one side without examining the other. Like, if you want to sit there and make accusations.
After the grand jury in the Breonna Taylor case decided not to charge any of the police with homicide, you said it raises the question, quote, whether justice could be equally applied in America. Do you believe that there is a separate but unequal system of justice for blacks in this country?
Yes, there's systemic injustice in this country, in education and work and in law enforcement and the way in which it's enforced. But look, the vast majority of police officers are good, decent, honorable men and women. They risk their lives every day to take care of us. But there are some bad apples, and when they occur, when they find them, they have to be sorted out.
Well, you want to talk about bad apples? I mean, bad apples exist in all kinds of places, YouTube. They really do. Bad apples exist in all kinds of places. They really do. And really, there's nothing you can do about it. There really isn't. The people who want to talk about spreading peace and all this other crap, but they're rioting, you know, they're tearing down things and throwing Molotov cocktails and all this other bullshit, and you want to talk about peaceful protesting. That's so the opposite of it, dude. So if you're pissed off, make your voice be heard. Be like, hey, you know what? This is what's making me mad. And just leave it at that. People agree with it, it'll catch tension. People don't agree with it, you'll get shit for it. Either way you shape it, that's just how it is.
They have to be held accountable. They have to be held accountable. And what I'm going to do as President of the United States is call together an entire group of people at the White House, well, everything from the civil rights groups to the police officers, the police chiefs, and we're going to work this out. We're going to work this out so we change the way in which we have more transparency in when these things happen. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to George Floyd. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to Breonna Taylor. Most don't like it. But we have to have a system where people are held accountable. And by the way, violence in response is never appropriate.
To quote a Toby Keith song, justice will preserve and the battle will rage.
Never appropriate. Peaceful protest is. Violence is never appropriate.
All right,
what is peaceful protest? When they run through the middle of the town and burn down your stores and kill people all over the place.
That is not peaceful.
No, it's not, but you say it is.
President Trump, I'd like to continue with the issue of race. I promise we're going to get to the issue of law and order in a moment.
Some bad apples, and when they occur, when they find them, they have to be sorted out.
Kind of pretty much saying the same thing I just got done saying. Like, if you're going to peacefully protest and do it, violence is never the answer. I fully agree. You know, violence often just makes things worse.
They have to be held accountable. They have to be held accountable. And what I'm going to do as President of the United States is call together an entire group of people at the White House, well, everything from the civil rights groups to the police officers, the police chiefs, and we're going to work this out. We're going to work this out so we change the way in which we have more transparency in when these things happen. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to George Floyd. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to Breonna Taylor.
I'm not happy about it either, dude. Honestly, I'm sick of the way our society's been going lately. Like, you get the pandemic, which is just the cherry on top of the bullshit cake. But then, the even bigger cherry is all this other crap happening. You know? It's ridiculous, YouTube.
Don't like it. But we have to have a system where people are held accountable. And by the way, violence in response is never appropriate. Never appropriate. Peaceful protest is. Violence is never appropriate.
All right,
what is peaceful protest? When they run through the middle of the town and burn down your stores and kill people all over the place?
That is not peaceful protest.
No, it's not, but you say it is.
President Trump, I'd like to continue with the issue of race. I promise we're going to get to the issue of law and order in a moment. This month, your administration directed federal agencies to end racial sensitivity training that addresses white privilege or critical race theory. Why did you decide to do that, to end racial sensitivity training? And do you believe that there is systemic racism in this country, sir?
I ended it because it's racist. I ended it because a lot of people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane, that it was a...
Racial sensitivity training be like, all whites are racist, and here's how you need to deal with it. I mean, to be fair, that is kind of a racial assumption that us whiteys have to deal with, is that we're all a bunch of white assholes that, you know what I'm saying? And every race has their stereotype, and that's just the cold truth of it. Having a program like racial sensitivity, when you could just be like, you know, on the right side of things, and be like, hey, this is how you should treat people, versus, okay, what the fuck are these assholes doing?
Radical revolution that was taking place in our military, in our schools, all over the place, and you know it, and so does everybody else.
Radical,
and he would know.
What is radical
totally
about racial sensitivity training?
If you were a certain person, you had no status in life. It was sort of a reversal. And if you look at the people, we were paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach very bad ideas, and frankly, very sick ideas. And really, they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that to happen. We have to go back to the core values of this country. They were teaching people that our country is a horrible place, it's a racist place, and they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Vice President Biden?
Nobody's doing that. He's racist.
You just don't know.
Here's the deal. I know a lot more about this.
Let him finish.
The fact is that there is racial insensitivity. People have to be made aware of what other people...
The thing of it is, you can make people aware of the racial issues without actually making a fucking program about it, you know? Just get out there and share your voice. Like this... I don't know. That's just my take on it. But yes, there is a problem with racism in our country. There has been for quite some time, and quite frankly, it's irritating.
People feel like what...
Also an issue with sexism, if I might add.
What insults them, what is demeaning to them. It's important to people know they don't want to. Many people don't want to hurt other people's feelings, but it makes a big difference. It makes a gigantic difference in the way a child is able to grow up and have a sense of self-esteem. It's a little bit like how this guy and his friends look down on so many people. They look down their nose on people like Irish Catholics like me and grew up in Scranton. They look down on people who don't have money. They look down on people who are of a different faith. They look down on people who are a different color.
Oh, you want to talk about looking down on people, Mr. Biden? You're a Catholic, okay? People like me who practice a different faith get so much crap. Yeah, you know how much crap I get for making these handcrafted wands? I get so much shit for it. People will look down their nose at me like, you know, don't give me that shit. Everyone gets crap for having religion, so I don't want to hear it. And to be fair, it doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor. People are going to give you shit growing up. They want to see what you're made of. Whether you got moxie or not, you know.
In fact, we're all Americans. The only way we're going to bring this country together is bring everybody together. There's nothing we cannot do if we do it together. We can take this on and we can defeat racism in America.
President Trump, sir.
During the Obama-Biden administration, there was tremendous division. There was hatred. You look at Ferguson, you go to many places. Look at Oakland. Look what happened in Oakland. Look what happened in Baltimore. Look what happened. Frankly, it was more violent than what I'm even seeing now.
Oh, my
but
Lord.
the reason is that
ridiculous.
the Democrats that run these cities
ridiculous.
don't want to talk like you about law and order.
Violent
and you
crime,
still haven't mentioned. Are you in favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You follow
Are you in
it and a
favor
little bit
of law
order.
and order? Go
Yes,
ahead,
I'm
say it.
You ask a question, let him finish.
Law and order.
Loses
Law and order.
Let him
Law and order with justice, where people people get treated fairly. And the fact of the matter is violent crime went down 17%, 15% in our administration.
All right.
It's gone up on his watch.
Went down much more in ours.
All right, we're not, Mr. President, you're going to
States of America.
Mr. President,
Every record in the
Mr.
book.
President, you're going to be very happy because we're now going to talk about law and order.
Places we had trouble were Democratic-run cities.
That's exactly my question. There has been a dramatic increase in homicides in America this summer particularly, and you often blame that on Democratic mayors and Democratic governors, but in fact there have been equivalent
You know what? Exactly. There have been an equivalent.
spikes in Republican-led cities like Tulsa and Fort Worth.
Exactly. Why is it that we can't just take responsibility as a society for our own shitty actions, man? Always blaming the politicians for everyone else's fucking problems, man. Like, everybody wants to blame the politicians, but nobody wants to fucking step up and be a politician. They try to, then they don't get very far in the polls or the votes or what have you. And they're sitting there going, well, geez, I tried, huh? Some people say that you shouldn't be allowed to complain if you vote because you elected the asshole that's in office. And some people say that, well, if you don't vote, you don't have the right to complain. I think both sides are right on that argument. Really, it's an electoral system, and that's why, you know. Otherwise, someone's going home pissed off because the other side won. That's just...
Worth. So the question is this really a party issue?
I think it's a party issue. You can bring in a couple of examples, but if you look at Chicago, what's going on in Chicago, where 53 people were shot and 8 died shot. If you look at New York, where it's going up like nobody's ever seen anything, the numbers are going up 100, 150, 200%. Crime. It is crazy what's going on. And he doesn't want to say law and order because he can't, because he'll lose his radical left supporters. And once he does that, it's over with. But if he ever got to run this country and they ran it the way he would want to run it, we would have our suburbs would be gone. By the way, our suburbs would be gone. And you would see problems like you've never seen.
He wouldn't know a suburb unless he took a wrong turn.
Oh, I know suburbs.
He would not.
So
I was raised in the suburbs. This is not 1950. All these dog whistles and racism don't work anymore. Suburbs are by and large integrated. There's many people today driving their kids to soccer practice and or to black and white and Hispanic in the same car as there have been any time in the past. What really is a threat to the suburbs and their safety is his failure to deal with COVID. They're dying in the suburbs. His failure to deal with the environment.
I mean, to be fair, Mr. Biden, people around the world are dying. It's not just the United States. I really do hate to say this because this is really fucking sad shit, dude. But it's the goddamn truth, okay? It is the goddamn truth. People are dying everywhere, man. And unfortunately, death is just a part of life. You can't avoid it. I've already accepted it. I'm just like, yeah, it'll happen when it happens. Who cares, man? You know, one day at a time, right? But meantime, you know, this early, man, there's a lot of people watching this debate going, I'm fixing to grab another beer here in a second. I tell you what.
Being flooded, they're being burned out because his refusal to do anything. That's why the suburbs are in trouble.
I do want to talk about this issue of law and order, though, and in the joint recommendation that came from the Biden-Bernie Sanders task force, you talked about, quote, reimagining policing.
Yeah.
First of all, what does reimagining policing mean, and do you support?
It means...
let me, if I might finish the question. What does reimagining policing mean, and do you support the Black Lives Matter call for community control of policing?
Look, what I support is the police...
To be fair, people need to be nice and not riots. And then the other side of the argument, people need to quit also abusing their power. Yeah, I said it. police need to stop abusing their power and people need to stop rioting. That's called coexisting. Not every person who peacefully protests is gonna riot, just like not every cop's gonna pull some shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Having the opportunity to deal with the problems they face. And I'm totally opposed to defunding the police officers. As a matter of fact, local police, the only one defunding, and his budget calls for a $400 million cut in local law enforcement assistance. They need more assistance. They need, when they show up for a 9/11 call, to have someone with them as a psychologist or psychiatrist to keep them from having to use force and be able to talk people down. We have to have community policing like we had before, where the officers get to know the people in the communities. That's when crime went down.
I actually agree with Joe Biden on that one, surprisingly. When, you know what I'm saying? As somebody who got swatted, what was it, last year? The detective was calling them saying, you guys, it's bogus, trust me. And then when they found out it was bogus, now they're like, shit. Waste of taxpayers' money for nothing.
It didn't go up, it went down. And so we have to be engaged.
That's not what they're talking about, Chris. That's not what they're talking about. He's talking about defunding the police.
That is not true.
He doesn't have any law support. He has no law enforcement
support. That's not true.
Almost nothing.
Look.
Oh, really? Who do you have? Name one group that supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go ahead. Think. We have time.
We don't have time to do anything.
Think about it. Name one law enforcement group that came out and supported.
Gentlemen, I think I'm going to take back the moderator's role, and I want to get to another subject, which is the issue of protests in many cities that have turned violent. In Portland, Oregon, especially, we had more than 100 straight days of protests, which I think you would agree. You talk about peaceful protests.
I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at it, both politicians have been accused of either cheating on their wife or sexually harassing women.
Many of those turned into riots. Mr. Vice President, you say that people who commit crimes should be held accountable. The question I have, though, is, as the Democratic nominee, and earlier tonight you said that you are the Democratic Party right now, have you ever called the Democratic mayor of Portland or the Democratic governor of Oregon and said, hey, you got to stop this, bring in the National Guard, do whatever it takes, but you'd stop the days and months of violence?
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. What do we got? Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it.
In Portland.
I don't hold public office now. I am a former vice president. I've made it clear in my public statements that the violence should be prosecuted. It should be prosecuted, and anyone who commits it.
But you've never called for the people, the leader. Excuse me, sir. You have never called for the leaders in Portland and in Oregon to bring in the National Guard and knock off 100 days of riots.
They can, in fact, take care of it if he just stay out of the way. Look,
really?
Here's the thing.
I sent in the U.S. Marshals to get the killer of a young man in the middle of the...
It's just back and forth, and I said I was going to watch this whole debate on stream, and I'm doing just that.
The street, and they shot him, and for 3 days,
President Trump
wouldn't do anything. I had to send in the U.S. Marshals, they took care of business.
Go ahead, sir.
And by the way, his own former spokesperson said, riots and chaos and violence help us cause. That's what this is all about.
I don't know who said that.
I do.
Who?
I think Kellyanne Conway.
I don't think she said that.
She said that. And so here's the point. The point is that that's what he keeps trying to rile everything up. He doesn't want to calm things down. Instead of going in and talking to people and saying, let's get everybody together, figure out how to deal with this. What's he do? He just pours gasoline in the fire constantly, and every single solitary time.
And to end this, button up this segment, I'm going to give you a minute to answer, sir. You have repeatedly criticized...
I have to answer his statement.
You have repeatedly... you've been talking back and forth.
He made a statement.
I'm asking you...
I would love to end it.
sir,
I would love to end it.
if you want to switch seats,
We would very quickly.
We can do that, but
I'd
I'm
send in the National Guard, it would be over. There'd be no problem.
Okay.
But they don't want to accept the National Guard.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared
willing
to
do
specifically
that,
do it? Well,
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. You want to call them? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a name.
White supremacists and
white
supremacists and right
Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing.
FBI director
This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his FBI director said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next. We're moving.
When a bat hits you over the head, that's not an idea.
Everybody in your administration tells you the truth has a bad idea.
Can I tell you what?
You have no idea.
Antifa is a dangerous,
all right,
radical
gentlemen,
group.
we're now moving on to the Trump and Biden records.
They'll overthrow you.
When a president, I'm going to ask a question. When the president seeks a second term, it is generally a referendum on his record. But Vice President Biden, you like to quote one of your dad's sayings, which is, don't compare me to the Almighty, compare me to the alternative. And in this case, sir, you are the alternative. Looking at both of your records, I'm going to ask each of you, why should voters elect you president over your opponent?
To be truthful, racism exists in all races, and I've seen racism exist on both sides. There were some Republicans who were incredibly racist, and then Democrats just look the other way because they don't want to acknowledge it. They're like, this is uncomfortable. The idea that people are assholes to each other makes a lot of us feel uncomfortable, so you ain't the only one in that equation.
Opponent, in this segment, President Trump, you go first, 2 minutes.
Because there has never been an administration or president who has done more than I've done in a period of 3.5 years. And that's despite the impeachment hoax. And you saw what happened today with Hillary Clinton, where it was a whole big con job. But despite going through all of these things, where I had to fight both flanks and behind me and above, there has never been an administration that's done what I've done. The greatest, before COVID came in, the greatest economy in history, lowest unemployment numbers. Everything was good. Everything was going. And by the way, there was unity going to happen. People were calling me for the first time in years. They were calling and they were saying, it's time maybe. And then what happened? We got hit, but now we're building it back up again. A rebuilding of the military, including Space Force and all of the other things. A fixing of the VA, which was a mess under him. 308,000 people died because they didn't have proper health care. He was a mess. And we now got a 91% approval rating at the VA, our vets. We take care of our vets. But we've rebuilt our military. The job that we've done, and I'll tell you something, some people say maybe the most important. By the end of the first term, I'll have approximately 300 federal judges and Court of Appeals judges, 300, and hopefully 3 great Supreme Court justices. That is a record, the likes of which very few people, and you know one of the reasons I'll have so many judges? Because President Obama and him left me 128 judges to fill. When you leave office, you don't leave any judges. That's like, you just don't do that. They left 128 openings, and if I were a member of his party, because they have a little different philosophy, I'd say if you left us 128 openings, you can't be a good president, you can't be a good vice president. But I want to thank you, because it gives us almost, it'll probably be above that number by the end of this term. 300 judges. It's a record.
Looking at both your records, why should voters elect you president as opposed to President Trump? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Under this president, we become weaker, sicker, poorer, more divided, and more violent. When I was vice president, we inherited a recession. I was asked to fix it. I did. We left him a booming economy, and he caused a recession. With regard to being weaker, the fact is that I've gone head to head with Putin and made it clear to him we're not going to take any of his stuff. He's Putin's puppy. He still refuses to even say anything to Putin about the bounty on the heads of American soldiers.
Your son got $3.5 million.
And by the way, my son...
Wait a minute. Mr. President, your campaign agreed to both sides would get 2-minute answers uninterrupted. Well, your side agreed to it, and why don't you observe what your campaign agreed to as a ground rule, okay, sir?
He never keeps his word. Can you add
No,
back
no, I'm not asking. That was a rhetorical question.
Can you
Go
add
ahead,
back
sir.
30 seconds?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
you may have.
All right.
Go ahead.
So, thirdly, we're poor. The billionaires have gotten much more wealthy by a tune of over $300 to $400 billion more just since COVID. You in the home, you got less. You're in more trouble than you were before. In terms of being more violent, when we were in office, there were 15% less violence in America than there is today. He's president of the United States. It's on his watch. And with regard to more divided, the nation can't stay divided. We can't be this way. And speaking of my son, the way you talk about the military, the way you talk about them being losers and being and just being suckers. My son was in Iraq. He spent a year there. He got the Bronze Star. He got the Conspicuous Service.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So now there's two reasons why he supported the Iraq War. One, his son was in it, and two, Joe Biden's a war-hungry Democrat.
Medal. He was not a loser. He was a patriot, and the people left behind there were heroes. And I resent.
You're talking about Hunter? Are you talking about Hunter?
I'm talking about my son, Bo Biden. You're talking about.
I don't know, Bo. I know Hunter.
Yeah,
Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. It wasn't dishonorably.
Cocaine use. And he didn't have a job until you became vice president. Once you became vice president, he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
that is simply
and various
not
other places.
True.
He
my
made
son,
a fortune.
My son,
and he didn't have a job.
My son, like a lot of people we know at home, had a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it, and I'm proud of him.
But why was he given tens of millions?
All right, but he wasn't given tens of millions. That is totally discredited.
We've already been
totally discredited.
We've already been through this. I think the American people would rather hear about more substantial subjects. Well, you know, as the moderator, sir, I'm going to make a judgment call here.
$3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow.
That is not true. That report is totally discredited. Mitt Romney on that committee said it wasn't worth taxpayers' money. That report was written for political reasons.
You know, I'd like to talk about climate change.
So would I.
Okay. The forest fires in the West are raging now. They have...
Oh, here we go. Now we're going to talk about climate change. Strap in the booze, folks, because it's about to get saucy. Because we're hitting the sauce. Did you really just mix Pabst Blue Ribbon beer with A&W root beer? What's wrong with you? Hey, I made actual root beer. Get it? Anyone? Oh, boy.
Burned millions of acres. They have displaced hundreds of thousands of people. When state officials there blame the fires on climate change, Mr. President, you said, I don't think the science knows. Over your 4 years, you have pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Accord. You have rolled back a number of Obama environmental records. What do you believe about the science of climate change, and what will you do in the next 4 years to confront it?
I want crystal clean water and air. I want beautiful, clean air. We have now the lowest carbon. If you look at our numbers right now, we are doing phenomenally. But I haven't destroyed our businesses. Our businesses aren't put out of commission. If you look at the Paris Accord, it was a disaster from our standpoint. And people are actually very happy about what's going on because our businesses are doing well. As far as the fires are concerned, you need forest management in addition to everything else. The forest floors are loaded up with trees, dead trees that are years old, and they're like tinder, and leaves and everything else. You drop a cigarette in there, the whole forest burns down. You've got to have forest management.
What do you
You've got to have
believe?
cuts.
What do you believe about the science of climate change, sir?
I believe that we have to do everything we can to have immaculate air, immaculate water, and do whatever else we can that's good. You know, we're planting 1 billion trees, the Billion Tree Project, and it's very exciting.
Do you believe
for a lot of people.
that human pollution, greenhouse gas emissions contributes to the global warming of this
I think
planet?
a lot of things do, but I think to an extent, yes. I think to an extent, yes. But I also think we have to do better management of our forests. Every year, I get the call, California's burning. California's burning. If that was cleaned, if you had forest management, good forest management, you wouldn't be getting those calls. You know, in Europe, they have forest cities. They're called forest cities. They maintain their forests. They manage their forests. I was with the head of a major country. It's a forest city. He said, sir, we have trees that are far more, they ignite much easier than California. There shouldn't be that problem. I spoke with the governor about it. I'm getting along very well with the governor. But I said, you know, at some point, you can't every year have hundreds of thousands of acres of land just burned to the ground. That's burning down because of a lack of management.
Sir, if you believe in the science of climate change, why have you rolled back the Obama Clean Power Plan, which limited carbon emissions in power plants? Why have you relaxed?
Because it was driving energy prices through the sky.
Why have you relaxed fuel economy standards that are going to create more pollution from cars?
Well, not really, because what's happening is the car is much less expensive and it's a much safer car, and you're talking about a tiny difference. And then what would happen, because of the cost of the car, you would have at least double and triple the number of cars purchased. We have the old slugs out there that are 10, 12 years old. If you did that, the car would be safer. It would be much cheaper by $3,500.
In the case of California, they simply
No, but you
ignore
would take a lot of cars off the market because people would be able to afford a car. Now, and by the way, we're going to see how that turns out. But a lot of people agree with me, many people. The car has gotten so expensive because they have computers all over the place for an extra little bit of gasoline. And I'm okay with electric cars too. I think I'm all for electric cars. I've given big incentives for electric cars. But what they've done in California is just crazy.
Vice President Biden, I'd like you to respond to the president's climate change record, but I also want to ask you about a concern. You proposed $2 trillion in green jobs. You talk about new limits, not abolishing, but new limits on fracking, ending the use of fossil fuels to generate electricity by 2035, and zero net emission of greenhouse gases by 2050.
You mother fracking piece of... Which, just so you know, fracking is really bad for the environment. I mean, really bad for the environment. Between the fracking and the excess pollution... A cleaner environment, I am all for it. 100%. You've heard me talk extensively on my channel about this. Clean your environment? Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yes. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Clean your environment? Fuck yeah, dude.
The president says a lot of these things would tank the economy and cost millions of jobs.
He's absolutely wrong, number one. Number two, if in fact, during our administration, the Recovery Act, I was in charge, able to bring down the cost of renewable energy to cheaper than or as cheap as coal and gas and oil. Nobody's going to build another coal-fired plant in America. No one's going to build another oil-fired plant in America. They're going to move to renewable energy, number one. Number two, we're going to make sure that we are able to take the federal fleet and turn it into a fleet that's run on their electric vehicles. Making sure that we can do that, we're going to put 500,000 charging stations in all of the highways that we're going to be building in the future. We're going to build an economy that, in fact, is going to provide for the ability us to take 4 million buildings and make sure that they, in fact, are weatherized in a way that, in fact, they'll emit significantly less gas and oil because the heat will not be going out. There's so many things that we can do now to create thousands and thousands of jobs. We can get to net zero in terms of energy production by 2035. Not only not costing people jobs, creating jobs, creating millions of good paying jobs, not $15 an hour, but prevailing wage, by having a new infrastructure that in fact is green. And the first thing I will do, I will rejoin the Paris Accord. I will join the Paris Accord because with us out of it, look what's happening. It's all falling apart. And talk about someone who has no relationship with foreign policy. Brazil, the rainforests of Brazil are being torn down, are being ripped down. More carbon is absorbed in that rainforest than every bit of carbon that's emitted in the United States. Instead of doing something about that, I would be gathering up and making sure we had the countries of the world coming up with $20 billion and say, here's $20 billion. Stop tearing down the forest. And if you don't, then you're going to have significant economic consequences.
What about the argument that President Trump basically says that you have to balance environmental interests and economic interests, and he's drawn his line?
Well, he hadn't drawn a line. He still, for example, makes sure that he wants to make sure that methane is not a problem. You can now emit more methane without it being a problem. Methane. This is a guy who says that you don't have to have mileage standards for automobiles that exist now. This is a guy who says that the fact is, it's all true. And here's the deal.
Talking about the Green New Deal, and it's not $2 billion or $20 billion, as you said. It's $100 trillion.
I'm talking about
where they want to rip down buildings and rebuild the building.
No,
it's the dumbest, most ridiculous. Where airplanes are out of business, where two-car systems are out, where they want to take out the cows too. You know, that's not true either, right? This is a $100 trillion. Look, that's more money than our country could make in 100 years if we're
not the case.
All right, let me because I actually, wait a minute, sir. I actually have studied your plan, and it includes upgrading 4 million buildings, weatherizing 2 million homes over 4 years, building 1.5 million energy-efficient homes. So the question becomes, the president is saying, I think some people who support the president would say that sounds like it's going to cost a lot of money and hurt the economy.
What it's going to do, it's going to create thousands and millions of jobs, good paying jobs.
But let him finish, sir.
He doesn't know how to do that.
$100 billion.
The fact is, it's going to create millions of good paying jobs, and these tax incentives for people to weatherize, which he wants to get rid of. It's going to make the economy much safer. Look how much we're paying now to deal with the hurricanes. By the way, he has an answer for hurricanes. He said maybe we should drop a nuclear weapon on them. They may.
I never said that.
That's what he did say.
You made it up.
And here's the deal.
You make up.
We are going to be in a position where we can create hard, good jobs by making sure the environment is clean and we all are in better shape. We spend billions of dollars now, on floods, hurricanes, rising seas. We're in real trouble. Look what's happening just in the Midwest with these storms that come through and wipe out entire sections and counties in Iowa. That didn't happen before. They're because of global warming. We make up 15% of the world's problem. We, in fact, but the rest of the world, we've got to get them to come along. That's why we have to get back into the Paris Accord.
All right, gentlemen.
Wait a minute, Chris. So why didn't he do it for 47 years? You were vice president. Why didn't you get the world? China sends up real dirt into the air. Russia does. India does. They all do. We're supposed to be good. And by the way, he made a couple of statements. The Green New Deal is $100 trillion.
That is not my plan.
That's,
the Green New Deal is not my plan.
I want to rebuild
If you knew anything about, if you knew
he
anything
made a
about,
statement about the military. He said I said something about the military. He and his friends made it up, and then they went with it. I never said it.
Okay.
That is
what
not
he
true.
did is he
You're done in
said
this segment.
he called
Mr.
the
Vice-
military
Mr. Vice President,
stupid bastards.
I
And he
did
said
not
it on
say
tape. He said
Mr.
stupid bastards.
Please,
He
sir,
said it.
stop.
I would never
I
say
would
that.
Play
Stop.
it. Play it.
Go ahead.
You're
Mr.
on
Vice
tape.
President answered his final question.
The final question is, I can't remember which of all is ranting.
I'm having a little trouble myself, but and about the economy and about this question of what it's going to cost.
The economy.
I mean, the Green New Deal and the idea of what your environmental changes will do.
The Green New Deal will pay for itself as we move forward. We're not going to build plants that, in fact, are great polluting plants.
But do you
We're
support the Green New Deal?
Pardon me?
You support?
No, I don't support the Green New Deal.
You don't? Oh, well, that's a big statement.
I
That
support
means you
the
just
black.
watch the radical left.
Okay. This is where I'm confused. Joe Biden was just on this tangent about how he wants to have greener cars, how he wants to have factories that aren't powered by coal, gas, or oil. He wants a greener environment, but then he doesn't support the Green Deal. I'm confused. Like, if you end up pissed off or confused, welcome to politics. And that time I wasn't the pooter, excuse me. Oh yeah, because Putin made a video and said, look, you guys think I'm trying to steal America's democracy? You're full of shit. I saw that video as a brief ad on YouTube, and I skipped it because that's what you do on ads that you can skip. Just beep. I'm like, oh, nice to know. Skip.
I support the Biden plan that I put forward.
Okay.
The Biden plan, which is different than what he calls the radical Green New Deal.
All right, gentlemen, final segment. Election integrity. As we meet tonight, millions of Americans are receiving mail-in ballots or going to vote early. How confident should we be that this will be a fair election, and what?
Okay, so that makes sense. Trump's calling it a radical Green Deal. Even though both sides to some degree want a cleaner environment. Both sides want more affordable health care.
What are you prepared to do over the next 5+ weeks, because it'll not only be to Election Day, but also counting some ballots, mail-in ballots after Election Day. What are you prepared to do to reassure the American people that the next president will be the legitimate winner of this election? In this final segment, Mr. Vice President, you go first.
Prepared to let people vote. They should go to iwillvote.com. Decide how they're going to vote, when they're going to vote, and what means by which they're going to vote. His own Homeland Security Director, and as well as the FBI Director, says there is no evidence at all that mail-in ballots are a source of being manipulated and cheating. They said that. The fact is that there are going to be millions of people because of COVID that are going to be voting by mail-in ballots, like he does, by the way. He sits behind the Resolute desk and sends his ballot to Florida, number one. Number two, we're going to make sure that those people who want to vote in person are able to vote, because enough poll watchers are there to make sure they can socially distance. The polls are open on time, and the polls stay open until the votes are counted. And this is all about trying to dissuade people from voting, because he's trying to to scare people into thinking that it's not going to be legitimate. Show up and vote. You will determine the outcome of this election. Vote, vote, vote. If you're able to vote early in your state, vote early. If you're able to vote in person, vote in person. Vote whatever way is the best way for you, because he cannot stop you from being able to determine the outcome of this election. And in terms of whether or not when the votes are counted, and they're all counted, that will be accepted. If I win, that will be accepted. If I lose, that will be accepted. But by the way, if in fact he says he's not sure what he's going to accept, well, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter, because if we get the votes, it's going to be all over. He's going to go. He can't stay in power. It won't happen. It won't happen. So vote. Just make sure you understand you have it in your control to determine what this country is going to look like the next 4 years. Is it going to change, or you get 4 more years of these lies?
Mr. President, 2 minutes.
So when I listened to Joe talking about a transition, there's been no transition from when I won. I won that election. And if you look at crooked Hillary Clinton, if you look at all of the different people, there was no transition, because they came after me trying to do a coup. They came after me spying on my campaign. They started from the day I won, and even before I won, from the day I came down the escalator with our First Lady. They were a disaster. They were a disgrace to our country. And we've caught them. We've caught them all. We've got it all on tape. We've caught them all. And by the way, you gave the idea for the Logan Act against General Flynn. You better take a look at that, because we caught you in a sense, and President Obama was sitting in the office. He knew about it too. So don't tell me about a free transition. As far as the ballots are concerned, it's a disaster. A solicited ballot, okay, solicited is okay. You're soliciting, you're asking, they send it back, you send it back. I did that. If you have an unsolicited, they're sending millions of ballots all over the country. There's fraud. They found them in creeks. They found some with the name Trump, just happened to have the name Trump just the other day in a waste paper basket. They're being sent all over the place. They sent 2 in a Democrat area. They sent out 1,000 ballots. Everybody got 2 ballots. This is going to be a fraud like you've never seen. The other thing, it's nice on November 3rd, you're watching and you see who won the election. And I think we're going to do well, because people are really happy with the job we've done. But you know what? We won't know. We might not know for months, because these ballots are going to be all over. Take a look at what happened in Manhattan. Take a look at what happened in New Jersey. Take a look at what happened in Virginia and other places. They're not losing 2%, 1%, which, by the way, is too much. An election could be won or lost with that. They're losing 30 and 40%. It's a fraud, and it's a shame. And can you imagine where they say, you have to have your ballot in by November 10th. November 10th. That means that's 7 days after the election, in theory, should have been announced.
Okay.
We have major states with that.
Sir,
all run by
2
Democrats.
minutes is 2 minutes.
All run by Democrats. It's
President Trump,
it's a rigged election.
you're going to be able to continue. You have been charging for months that mail-in balloting is going to be a disaster. You say it's rigged, that it's going to lead to fraud. But in 2018, in the last midterm election, 31 million people voted mail-in voting. That was a quarter, more than a quarter of all the voters that year cast their ballots by mail. Now that millions of mail-in ballots have gone out, what are you going to do about it? And are you counting on the Supreme Court, including a Justice Barrett, to settle any dispute?
Yeah, I think I'm counting on them to look at the ballots, definitely. I don't think, well, I hope we don't need them in terms of the election itself. But for the ballots, I think so, because what's happening is incredible. I read today, where at least 1% of the ballots for 2016 were invalidated. They take them, we don't like them, we don't like them.
But
they throw them out left
there
and
are
right.
millions of ballots going out
What you do is you go and vote. You do a solicited ballot, and that's okay, or you go and vote.
I'm asking you about the fact that millions of people...
You go and vote. You go and vote, like they used to in the old.
Millions of people.
You either do, Chris, a solicited ballot where you're sending it in, they're sending it back, and you're sending. They have mailmen with lots of it. Did you see what's going on? Take a look at West Virginia. Mailmen selling the ballots. They're being sold. They're being dumped in rivers. This is a horrible thing for our country. This is not going to end well. This is not going to end well.
5 states have had mail-in ballots for the last decade or more. 5, including 2 Republican states. And you don't have to solicit the ballot. It's sent to you. It's sent to your home. What we're saying is, they're saying is that it has to be a postmark by the time, by election day. If it doesn't get in till the 7th, 8th, 9th, it still should be counted. He's just afraid of counting the votes because
You're wrong. You're wrong.
I want to continue with you on this, Vice President Biden.
Chris, he's so wrong when he makes a statement like that.
Excuse me. Vice President Biden, the biggest problem, in fact, over the years with mail-in voting has not been fraud historically. It is.
Now, Joe Biden says that Trump's afraid that the mail-in votes, but you know that you're both afraid that, you know, I mean, it's a tight race at this point. Like, we're down to like the last 5 bloody weeks of this shite, and then we'll have ourselves a president.
Been that sizable number, sometimes hundreds of thousands of ballots are thrown out because they have not been properly filled out, or there is some other irregularity, or they missed the deadline. So the question I have is, are you concerned that the Supreme Court with a Justice Barrett will settle any dispute?
I'm concerned that any court would settle this, because here's the deal. When you get a ballot and you fill it out, you're supposed to have an affidavit. If you didn't know, you have someone say that this is me. You should be able to, if in fact you can verify that's you before the ballot is thrown out, that's sufficient to be able to count the ballot because someone made a mistake and not dotting the correct I. Who they voted for, testify, say who they voted for, say it's you, that is totally legitimate.
All right.
Excuse me, when you have 80 million ballots, Senate is swamping the system. You know it can't be done. You know it can't, and already
it's
been
so now
mail service delivers 185 million pieces of mail a day.
In 8 states, we can keep talking. In 8 states, election workers are prohibited currently by law, 8 states, from even beginning to process ballots, even take them out of the envelopes and flatten them until election day. That means that it's likely, because there's going to be a huge increase in mail-in balloting, that we are not going to know on election night who the winner is, that it could be days, it could be weeks,
could be months,
until we find out who the new president is. So first for you, sir, finally for the vice president, I hope neither of you will interrupt the other. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm?
Even at this point, the announcer's just like, Jesus Christ, both of you people. Even the announcer of this little debate, the guy asking the questions, is just like, you both are doing it now. Holy crap.
During this extended period, not to engage in any civil unrest? And will you pledge tonight that you will not declare victory until the election has been independently certified? President Trump, you go first.
I'm urging my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully, because that's what has to happen. I am urging them to do it. As you know, today there was a big problem. In Philadelphia, they went in to watch. They're called poll watchers, a very safe, very nice thing. They were thrown out. They weren't allowed to watch. You know why? Because bad things happen in Philadelphia, bad things. And I am urging my people. I hope it's going to be a fair election. If it's a fair election, I am a...
Okay, I'm just saying, you know, people are entitled to privacy. You know, the idea that you could just watch and see who people are voting for, I mean, what does it matter? You know? Well, like, you know, I think we've all earned that right as a proud American citizen who's allowed to vote, for any one of us who has that right. You know? I rinse this cup out.
100% on board. But if I see tens of thousands of ballots being manipulated, I can't go along with that. And I'll tell you what,
does that
from
mean?
a common sense,
Does that mean you're
I'll
going
tell
to
you
tell
what
your
it means.
people to take to the
It means you
street?
have a fraudulent election. You're
And what
sending
are
out
you gonna do?
80
And
million
what will you
ballots.
do about that?
They're not equipped to. These people aren't equipped to handle it. Number one. Number two, they cheat. They cheat. Hey, they found ballots in a waste paper basket 3 days ago, and they all had the name military ballots. They were military. They all had the name Trump on them.
Vice President
You think
Biden,
that's good?
Vice President Biden, final question for you. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm while the vote is counted, and will you pledge not to declare victory until the election is independently certified?
Yes, and here's the deal. We count the ballots, as you pointed out. Some of these ballots in some states can't even be opened until Election Day. And if there's thousands of ballots, it's going to take time to do it. And by the way, our military, they've been voting by ballots since at the end of the Civil War, in effect. And that's what's going to happen. Why was it not? Why is it for them somehow not fraudulent? It's the same process. It's honest. No one has established at all that there is fraud related to mail-in ballots. That somehow it's a fraudulent process.
It's already been established. Take a look at Carolyn Maloney's race.
You had an opportunity to
Look at
respond.
Carolyn Monroe.
Go ahead.
They have no idea what
Vice
happened.
President Biden, go ahead.
He has no idea what he's talking about. Here's the deal. The fact is, I will accept it, and he will too. You know why? Because once the winner is declared, after all the ballots are counted, all the votes are counted, that'll be the end of it. That'll be the end of it. And if it's me, in fact, fine. If it's not me, I'll support the outcome. And I'll be a president not just for the Democrats. I'll be a president for Democrats and Republicans. And this guy,
I want to see an honest ballot count.
Gentlemen, you say that's the end of it? This is the end of this debate?
Honest ballot count.
We're going to leave it there. To be continued as in more debates as we go on. President Trump, Vice President Biden, it's been an interesting hour and a half. I want to thank you both for participating in the first of 3 debates that you have agreed to engage in. We want to thank Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic for hosting this event. The next debate, sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates, will be 1 week from tomorrow, October 7th, at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. The 2 vice presidential nominees, Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris, will debate at 9 p.m. Eastern that night. We hope you watch. Until then, thank you and good night.
If hearing that this debate is over was music to your ears, you may not be alone. What could have been a low point in American political discourse, certainly in any modern debate we've seen, just took place over an hour and a half. If you showed up looking for a food fight, you got a brawl between these two men, language that we have rarely heard from candidates in a political debate. A name calling that went to a new level. Frankly, Savannah Guthrie, I'm a bit at a loss for words here to describe what we've just witnessed.
Well, maybe because I think, like so many in this country watching this, your jaw just dropped. You can't pretend that this was a normal debate, a normal example of American democracy at work, a normal, tussle between foes. This was different. This was...
Well, you got the people shouting.
Hearing that this debate is over was music to your ears, you may not be alone. What could have been a low point in American political discourse, certainly in any modern debate we've seen, just took place over an hour and a half. If you showed up looking for a food fight, you got a brawl between these two men, language that we have rarely heard from candidates in a political debate. A name calling that went to a new level. Frankly, Savannah Guthrie, I'm a bit at a loss for...
Name calling, because nothing says professional presidential candidate like name calling.
For words here to describe what we've just witnessed.
Well, maybe because I think, like so many in this country watching this, your jaw just dropped. You can't pretend that this was a normal debate, a normal example of American democracy at work, a normal, tussle between foes. This was...
We heard from candidates in a political debate, a name calling that went to a new level. frankly, Savannah Guffer, I'm a bit at a loss for words here to describe what we've just witnessed.
Well, maybe because I think, like so many in this country watching this, your jaw just dropped. You can't pretend that this was a normal debate, a normal example of American democracy at work, a normal, tussle between foes. This was different. This was an all-out grudge match. It was undignified at many times.
Okay, little jab at the end. Was that... I don't know, dude. I don't know, like... Okay, you couldn't say it's... Okay, that's the end of the debate. Holy crap, YouTube. That there's the end of this here debate. It is now 7:23 at night. Holy crapola, dude. You want to talk about some craziness? I mean, holy crap, dude. That was some craziness, my dudes and dudettes. I did, however, tell and say that I was going to watch that whole debate on camera. And even if it was just me sitting there and just patiently observing and seeing, I don't know. But like I said, you can vote for whoever the fuck you want to vote for. Anyways, YouTube, I'll catch you cool covers later. Thank you for tuning in.